Bienvenidos to the Latino Slant. It is another live edition of the week. Esta semana we have a very special show for you guys, box office actuals. We even have a Sound of Freedom update from you from Latin America. But more importantly, there is a strike going on. So we have not one, not two, but three actor, writer, directors here joining us to talk about it all. Pues vámonos.
Hey baby, ¿qué pasó? Thought I was your only vato. Hey baby, ¿qué pasó? Won't you give me un beso?
What's going on, mi gente? It's Paulie here. It's a Monday. It's this week, our weekly show. We're starting a few minutes earlier, but really, we're listen. Sorry for the time change. It's all good. You're still gonna get a full show. Don't get crazy in the chat. We have some great guests today. Some great guests who are gonna give you their insight. Why SAG, Writers Guild, are striking, and maybe what I hope to do is dispel any misinformation that you're getting from a lot of channels that I'm seeing that I don't like. And that's why I put this show together, because I'd say besides one voice out there, besides that one voice, everyone has no idea what they're talking about on their channels. I'm not going to say who they are. I'm really not. But anything that's got to do with the creatives, you know me, guys. You know who my lady is. I don't give a fuck about who I piss off, because when it comes to actors, when it comes to creatives and directors, I'm always going to defend them first. You know, whether you call it a bias or not, it's a completely different animal as far as how they maneuver with their careers, what success means, and a working actor. So yeah, I'm not too happy about what I'm seeing out there, but that's okay, you know, because that's why I have my channel. I can bring on whoever I want, and we can talk about these really pressing issues in regards to Hollywood and the strikes. But we got a nice early crowd, which is what I love. Do me a favor right now, grab the link, share it, let people know that we're here. We want to triple, we want to get the numbers up nice and high. Already 34 peeps live in the chat, so please share the link right now. We're going to hit a couple of subjects before we bring in our first guest. And before we do that, let's say hello to a few people in the chat really fast. What's up, Real? How's it going? Phil, Krusty Moco comes in with the best name I know. Cavatano, Cheetah, Bush, Olaf. ¿Cómo estás, Olaf? Lord Thoth with his mighty wrench. Corion Witch in residence. Hello, I think you're a supporter and friend of Kamran Pasha, so that's really cool. And of course, the local himself, the guy who created this fabulous icon. Look at this icon. Bonzo is here. Bonzo! Orale, man. 40 people live in the chat. I love it. Liquid's here. Shooter. Second rodeo. Ain't my first. That's my second. What's that line from Richie Labamba when Isai Morales like, I'm pregnant, Bob. I'm pregnant. He grabs some tequila. He's like, looks at this like, it's not gonna be my first or my last. Ah, what a perro. Leo's here, Eric C, and D007H. Okay, we got a great early crowd. Fletcher is in the back producing the show. I want to thank all the mods, Mexican Iron Man, all the fantastic mods that are live in the chat. Get your questions now going on right now. But right now, let's go to the box office actuals, because the box office is doing something really interesting, guys. Really interesting. So let me bring up the numbers here. Okay, everyone knows that Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part One is out. Uh, yeah, excuse me. Domestically, 80 million. Internationally, like 240 million, something like that. Here in the States, 4,300 theaters. Sound of Freedom, they ticked up. They keep ticking up in their theaters, up to 3,200 theaters now. A movie that was made for $14 million has grossed now $85 million. Then you got Insidious. Indiana Jones is quickly fading. What's showing some staying power is Elemental, Spider-Man, Transformers, and even No Hard Feelings, which officially now has made its production money back because it did cost 45 million to produce. Asteroid City is still staying around if you're a big Wes Anderson fan. Flash is in the pan, yes. Ruby Gillman and the Flash. Now, I wanted to talk about Mission Impossible and Sound of Freedom real quick. And just my quick take on this, guys. Because everyone, you're hearing this noise, this silly noise of Mission Impossible's a flop. Mission Impossible's got legs. Listen, guys, you saw my review here. It's a great film. And it's got some fantastic characters, fantastic stunts, that whole thing. And it's a part one. There's a couple things that are killing it, right? Where it's not making more money than it. 240 million. That's a lot of money, guys. And it'll probably, at the end of the day, globally hit around 800 million. That's what I said a few weeks ago. It's not a touch tone like a Top Gun Maverick, but it's also really long. that just means it needs more screens because it's just getting less screenings per screen. 2 hours and 45 minutes. Still a really good film. I highly recommend it, especially if you're into the Mission Impossible franchises. Now, here's the thing with Mission Impossible. It's a great film. It's a fun film. It could be suffering from a little bit of that kind of that sequel fatigue, big blockbuster fatigue. It was made for almost 300 million bucks. But nobody saw Sound of Freedom coming. It is what it is. It is phenomenon. In as far as ticket sales and people talking about it, it has touched a lot of people who see the film. I did not know what I was getting into when I saw the actual film. And as you saw my review, I was completely rocked. And what I also didn't know, guys, and I've talked about this before, is that it's for this channel's sake, it's a Latino film, written and directed by Mexican, produced by Mexican, starring Latinos from all over Latin America and Jim Caviezel, of course. But really, it becomes an ensemble piece. Latino music, up and down, score up and down, filmed in Colombia. So it is a touch tone, and you're seeing more and more people talk about this film. You can't buy that, guys. You can buy marketing up the wazoo and hope and pray that your film becomes the next thing. But studios really need to take a lesson here, guys. And I wanted to bring up a singer-songwriter by the name of Luis Fonsi. He had the most huge popular song that people are still rocking out to, and it's been years now, called Despacito. He put up a video, and Angel Studios repurposed the video. But this is what I'm talking about as a pop cultural point in time that you just can't buy this, guys. Where somebody who's not part of the film, not part of the political talk, I don't know what, he is a popular celebrity, whatever, and he talks about his experience with this film. This is what I'm talking about, guys. Let me play this for you, because you're not seeing this right now with any other movie.
It's a true story. Go see it.
So his name is Luis Fonsi. I believe he's from Puerto Rico. He had the song Despacito, a lot of other hits. Let me put up the volume and let's.
2 million children are trafficked every year. 2 million children are trafficked every year. It's horrific and it's disturbing. And we need to create awareness. We need to use our voices. Go see Sound of Freedom. It's the #1 film in America right now. It's the most powerful film I've ever seen. It's a true story. Go see it. Sound of Freedom. Let's put an end to child trafficking.
I mean, let me tell you, this sounds like a regular guy talking about a movie that he loved. And yes, it's a film by Alejandro Monteverde. It doesn't get plainer than that. And I don't mean it in a condescending way. It's like, this is plain talk. This guy's speaking from his heart. He's talking about this film. What other films right now? When was the last time you saw something this special? Would it have to be when Tom Cruise welcomed back fans to the theater last year and to go see Top Gun? Everyone was talking about, man, that was wild. That was great. And everyone went to see Top Gun Maverick. And now you're seeing the same thing here with Luis Fonsi, huge Latin American singer, talking about Sound of Freedom. And let me just say one more thing. This movie is not even distributed in Latin America yet. It does not come out in Mexico till the end of August. You can't buy this. You cannot buy this type of publicity. And hey, that I was very, very pleasantly surprised to see this video come out. And let me tell you one more thing before we move on. This is huge because the U.S. Latino movie-going audience is the biggest movie-going audience. 30% went to see this film out of a 19% population. Time after time, and I hammer this, guys. I hammer this. We make hits. We decide what's a hit. From Sisu to Mario Brothers to what was the other big Avatar? You'll see. You always look at the demographics. That Latino market, boom. Whenever 20%, 30%, even sometimes 40% doubles itself, instant hit. Then you'll see movies where they didn't go. Not so much a hit. Indiana Jones. Yeah. So let that, just throwing that out to you as well. I'm gonna bring in I'd love to know your thoughts. I'm gonna bring in Fletcher Williams. We actually have our first guest in the green room, Fletcher. Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, pretty awesome.
Pretty cool.
I mean, I think part of this is kind of like the advertising that you cannot buy. This is part of the, like you said, this touch the zeitgeist of the
zeitgeist
country.
Correct.
Yeah, and basically you're going with something that it's truly life changing for a lot of people, and a lot of people are getting woken up to how horrendous this basically plague that's plaguing the world is. Is actually, how big is it? It's bigger than the drug trade. Like they said, is gonna surpass everything. And
Sure.
Like the trailer was saying, I mean, you can just sell drugs like once. You know what I mean? You can sell a gun once in the arms underground, but a child can be like trafficked like up to 10 times. Those are chilling statistics because we're talking about a child, the most weakest. So
Sure.
it's heartbreaking, but it's so important that this get out.
Listen, guys, go see the movie. Make up your own mind. You got my reviews. You got our coverage. We had the actor on last week. He was incredible. And you got the box office actuals. It's part of the zeitgeist. I want to say a quick thank you to all our new supporters who came over from the Critical Drinker. I did a video on him this past weekend because he was talking about Batgirl story plot leaks. And he was like, I'm not hating on this. And then I read the plot leaks. I'm like, I'm not hating on it either. This story is actually pretty interesting.
Yeah, it did seem like it had something that was a little different. and coming from a completely different area. You were not
Right.
starting with the the origin story that everybody was like, oh my gosh, the origin story again.
Right.
And the way that they were approaching the Leslie Grace character, it wasn't as as some other people were saying that it was going to be like she's going to be like this girl boss and stuff like that. So
Well,
it,
listen, yeah, Leslie Grace is a triple threat, and she just came. I believe she just finished rapping I think it's like a family drama, indie movie called I forgot what it's called, but it's with Residente. Residente plays her dad
right from Calle 13.
from Calle 13. I'm like, okay, you got my interest, and I'm just glad she's working, man. Because
Yeah. No, she was. She was. In other, when she's that talented, it's not gonna be. I mean, there's so many things. They put her in that, like non-flattering get up, and
yeah.
it just and you put it out there. You're like, oh my gosh.
Okay, well, I wanted to thank Critical Drinker or the supporters. He didn't. All he did was tweet. I just responded to it, but I know we noticed we got a nice bump this past weekend. So muchísimas gracias otra vez. You're here on the Latino Slant. We hit on all things pop culture, music, movies, and more from the Latino perspective. Achievements, celebrations, insight, maybe shit you didn't know about. It's like, okay, cool. I'll give it a shot, Paulie. Thanks a lot. We got our first super chat of the day, Corion, which in residence for $5 Canadian, already shared on Facebook. This is set to be an awesome show. Yes, it is, man. It is. So thank you for that. Thank you for that. Any questions you guys want to ask our guests, throw us down with a super chat, which also helps this channel stay afloat. It really does, man. It really does keep those lights on. You know what I'm saying? 80 people live in the chat. Show.
Awesome. Yeah.
Show.
Hit that like.
I think we're gonna save the potpourri for now.
All right. Yeah.
Let's take we're gonna take like a minute break, and then when we come back, we're gonna bring Chelsea Rendon on. Chelsea is a great actress, tax collector, Vida, Shameless, and then we had her on a couple months ago. Her and Alejandro Montoya Marin, indie film. Gotta love that. Is it The Expectors or The Unexpecteds? We'll find out. I know I messed up the title. Anyway, she's in the green room. She's waiting for us. It is, cool. Give us 1 minute. We'll take a little water break, and we'll be back right after this break. Orale. Make sure I hit the right one. Here we go.
When I worked in East LA, I wound up in the gang unit.
And we didn't call ourselves gang members. We were social clubs.
There's a difference between a guy who's commuting to work and a car that's cruising and looks like a shark.
We're talking about a whole new culture. We had our own slang. The calor was different.
Chicanas and Mexican-American women were sort of using American culture.
It wasn't just the way they dressed, it's the way they walk. Streets ain't woke. You're gonna get shot and killed.
We're always different. We're going to be different. And this is just the way around.
That's part of us being Chicanos because that's what we went through.
American Homeboy, only in theaters this August and September. Los Angeles, Portland, Albuquerque, Tucson, Chicago, and San Francisco. Get your tickets now. AmericanHomeboy.com. The Latino Slant is sponsored by Gutierrez Law Firm, celebrating the independent spirit of Chicano and Latino music, art, and film. Se habla español. Right, I want to give a shout out to Jaime Gutierrez, El Loco. He's a fantastic lawyer. He sponsors the show, and he's got a passion for Chicano art and film. Now we go to it. Our big main topic is the strike. Now it's not just the Writers Guild of America, the Writers Union, but now it's the Screen Actors Guild hitting the picket lines, man. And this is hasn't been done in many years. I think at least 60 years as far as a joint strike. So let's bring in our first guest. I introduced you before the break, one more time. Her name is Chelsea Rendon. She's been an actor since she was a kid. You might have seen her on Shameless, Vida, and The Tax Collector. Everyone, Chelsea Rendon.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. I'm still recovering. I got Benadryl in my system, so it's an experience.
It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, we'll make you a little bigger. Welcome back.
Hello.
So yeah, you had a little. Was the hydration problem that you had due to being on the picket line, or what happened?
No, honestly. So for those of you that don't know, I was in the emergency room on Saturday night. I was suffering from dehydration and heat exhaustion, and it was not fun.
Well, yeah, I'm really glad you're better.
It's just from the heat. I work a day job now, which is the first time in my life that I have ever had a day job. And I've been
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Yeah.
So I'm like, that also speaks volumes, that shows how small residuals are now compared to what they used to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I also love my job, Roadside Taco, Studio City, if you're in LA right now.
Studio City? Oh, I didn't know that. I'm going to go.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite spots. And so when I realized I needed to get a job, it was like, I want to work here. I love this place. And now I get 50% off on the food just for me. Sorry. But anyways, I was working. I just, the hustle of doing my job, but then also doing side hustles, and also being a person and living a life. I was doing a lot, and it just all caught up with me on Saturday night, and I'm just recovering right now. So I won't be able to get out into the picket line until Friday, because I have a bunch of shit to do. I'm doing even reshoots for a short film on Thursday. But yeah, I'm gonna be out there, but I'm gonna take care of myself.
All right. What's the first thing you want to say about this strike?
So I think the biggest thing is for everyone to truly understand the writers aren't being selfish. Actors are not being selfish. It is the studios. They make so much money, and it is not shared, and it is not, and writers and actors don't feel respected at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. And it affects our livelihood, and it affects, 87% of SAG-AFTRA actors. There are 160,000 members. 87% of SAG-AFTRA members do not qualify for health insurance every year. And all you have to make is a $26,000 a year.
I think it went up to, I asked Romy yesterday, it went up to 32. She told me. So
don't have numbers on that. From what I remember,
around there though, right? 26 to 32.
28.
Okay. But still,
80% of those 160,000 members don't have SAG health insurance. Right. You know what I mean? Like, I'm thankful that I've been able to. I've had SAG health insurance for the last, I think, 5 years, because I was still under my mom's insurance until I was 25. You know what I mean? Taking advantage of that. But even now, it's just, there's just really crazy numbers, and people that aren't in the business, just the audience, thinks like, oh, well, Kevin Hart is worth millions of dollars, or Meryl Streep is worth millions of dollars. But those are the exception to the rule. That's the 1% of actors that make 6 and 7 figures. But to put it out there, the rate of a guest star on a sitcom is $5,900. The rate of a guest star on a network show is, I believe, $9,000.
And what does that mean? Like per day?
For the week. So for the week.
You get $9,000 to be on a TV show one time.
Yes.
As a guest star. Gotcha.
As a guest star.
Okay. Which is great. You land the job.
Which is great. But remember, as actors, we have to interview for jobs every day. Every time we have an audition, we are trying to get a new job. So yeah, we got that $5,900, say, for example, but then there's 10% to agents, 10% to managers. If people have lawyers, 5% to lawyers. So you get less than half of that at the end of the day.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
So go ahead. So in regards to that, like, because to the normal person, well, $9,000, that's a lot of money, but you could go a year or 2 years in between landing a job of that size.
Oh yeah.
right? You're not, like you said, if you're not in that 13 to 10% already. So I have noticed with Romy, and when she gets those, those jobs, like you do, those big jobs, man, big credits, the quote goes low, down, down, because that's all they're willing to pay.
Well, and then on top of that, actors that tested for like a TV pilot or something like that used to have a quote. The quotes aren't even like really a factor anymore.
I mean,
so say for example, if Romy had a quote of like, if she was going to be on a half an hour comedy show, right? Okay, her quote is $30,000.
Right.
If she's getting on another project, she can't say, oh, well, my minimum is 30 already. They'll be like, no, quotes don't matter. We're starting at 20. You know what I mean? Like,
and let me tell you, audience, Chelsea to Romy or whoever, you work your way up to even getting a quote. You can't like, oh my, and you don't have any credits. Oh, my quote's this. They have worked their asses off to get that quote. It's a reputation, it's respect, it's your acting caliber and your other credits. So, what a quote means, and you're saying that's gone.
Wow. Yeah, no, it hasn't really. For years, it hasn't played a factor, and so it's just like I said. Bottom line, those are the numbers I guest star. Like even like series regulars, sometimes. Oh no, also that is the minimum for like network and like NBC, CBS. But I have friends that have worked as guest stars, recurring guest stars on a Netflix show or a streaming show, and they get paid $1,000 a week.
Right.
That's it. You know what I mean? Like, and they're being used in promotion. They're using press.
And we haven't even brought up. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
No. But I was saying, so like those are the rates if you're on network TV. But this is not even streaming. Streaming is under new media, which it should not be under anymore because it is completely on the same level as other studios. You know what I mean? Like, but all the streaming contracts are new media, so they can pay a weekly budget, like a weekly scale, which could be like $3,000 for the week or $1,000 something for the week. Like, and that's where again we are being paid less when it comes to streamers, but then used even more because then it goes from one streamer to the next streamer. Like right now, I got Vida for Hulu. I mean, I'm sorry, for Stars. I did Vida on Stars.
Vida was a show that went 2 seasons?
3 seasons.
3 seasons on Stars. Okay. You were a co-star.
I was a series regular.
You were a series regular. Let's get this right, guys. That's huge, guys. Okay. Yes. Go ahead.
So for 3 seasons, I was a series regular on a Star show, and it ended in 2020. And last year, in 2022, they dropped the first 2 seasons on Hulu.
Oh wow, that's an upgrade. It went to
it went from one place to another.
Okay.
And I didn't get a fat check to be like, hey, we just bought it from there. Boom, boom, boom. Like my residuals from Vida range in the $20, $30 range. There's a few times where I get like $200-$300, but as a series regular, that is like ridiculously low.
Guys, that is kind of absurd. Kind of obscene.
I have actually gotten better residuals from my episodes on Shameless than I have on Vida.
Well, it's a bigger network, right?
I think it just might have a bigger fan base. I don't know. Like I truly don't know, but it's just interesting when I see these different residuals. I
wanted to add one more thing, and then I wanted to you said something about actors being selfish. So I want to get back to that. And then we're going to bring on Kamran Pasha, and you guys are going to hang out and chat.
Yeah.
But guys, we're saying all these numbers. This is before your manager, your agent, the tax man, federal, local, take their money out.
Yeah, that's why I say realistically, at the end of the day, actors get just under like half. Like, especially like so much for myself, I'm incorporated, right? So I don't pay taxes at the beginning. I pay it at the end of the year. And that I really recommend for actors because I remember the first season of Vida, I think it took 70,000. And the second season, I made more money and I only had to pay like 30,000, if I'm remembering correctly. So
well, those are your business choices. Yeah. The
yeah,
thing is
but
the thing is that people go ahead.
There's that chunk of taxes that just goes into the ether that we pay that never comes back to us. And it is big enough where I was like, damn, I should have incorporated before season 1. But
Gotcha.
we know about it. Again, the talk around incorporation was if you are not making $100,000, it doesn't matter. But Trump changed all that when he changed all the tax laws. So actors can't be writing off headshots and resumes and agent fees and manager fees and gas to go to the auditions and act like you can't write any of that off.
You used to be able to.
You used to, yes.
A long time ago, right? And those are legit expenses. And now another well, let me put a tab on it in regards to auditioning from home and film stars kind of, going to television the last 10 years have kind of also made it more of a challenge for other actors. You said something though about being selfish. Why did you say that? You said like, hey, writers aren't being selfish, actors aren't being selfish. Are you getting that kickback?
Well,
backlash?
I personally am not. I've seen stuff on social media because people just genuinely don't get it. Like when people think of Hollywood, they think of the A-list actors that they know, right? And they think of the A-list directors or writers that they know. They don't realize that there are so many more writers involved in this one project or this many actors involved in the project. So that's where I was just like, it's not from a place of, oh, we feel entitled to this or that or that. It's truly just fair. You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
And at the same time, it's streaming switched everything and we haven't caught up to it yet, which is why I said streamers are the same as ABC and CBS and all that. Like, it's even bigger. Think about it. Technically, like HBO is cable, like, but it's still streaming. You know what I mean? You watch Succession on an app. You don't watch it on the TV. You know what I mean? So the biggest shows that are out there are mainly from streaming.
Yeah.
And so when new media first started, there were web series where you got, it was very cheap.
Internet.
It was internet, right? That is what true new media was, right? Yeah. But that is not the way it is now. So we're just saying, why are we making you all these millions and billions of dollars under new media when we would be paid X amount if it was on a different network? When it's the exact same thing, and if anything, it's more exposure.
If you're just joining us, we have over 100 people live in the chat. If you're watching us on replay, smash the like. Thank you so much. We're here with the beautiful, talented, and just badass Chelsea Rendon, Shameless, Vida, and me and Romy got to finally meet you a couple weeks ago. That was the coolest, man.
Man, we were supporting the Unexpecteds.
Thank you.
Unexpecteds.
The Unexpecteds. We were supporting filmmaker Alejandro Montoya Marin, which is a whole nother thing we'll get into as far as independent films, seeing an independent artist kind of like coming in, and maybe there's going to be some new life into Hollywood. Yep.
Wait, I also said, before I forget, I wanted to remind you guys, especially as the audience, as the fans, we as SAG-AFTRA members cannot promote anything that is associated with the AMPTP. So please promote the projects that are coming out, specifically the ones with Latinos. There are a lot of projects coming out with Latinos, but we can't say anything. We literally can't. We will get in trouble. It is part of the deal. So I urge you, everyone here, go publicly and say, hey guys, remember that they can't post it. So let's post it. Let's get the word out there for projects with Latinos, because anything under the AMPTP umbrella, we cannot promote.
I think you're seeing some people being creative with Blue Beetle now, pushing that, or Barbie, I don't know what. But some people did ask how you're able to do a reshoot on a show if you're on strike.
It's not a show.
A strike, short film.
It's a short film. and it's under SAG, but it has no affiliation with any of the studios. It's an independent project. So that's another thing that's people don't understand. A strike is only in regards to the projects under AMPTP. So actors can still do voiceovers, can still do
they can.
video games or commercials or independent projects. They just have to get the clear through SAG.
Gotcha.
So technically, only
Good to know.
AMPTP is on. We're only on strike from them. We can still do these other things. But I'm a perfect example of I have not booked a commercial in 15 years.
Wow.
Like, so it's not like, oh yeah, I'm fine. I can hang out and strike over here because I'm making money over here. Like, yes, I've done some voiceover work, but I don't do it regularly. And again, money's still not what you would think it is. So we are on strike for AMPTP. We technically can still work, but there's only one flow. You know what I mean? There's only one Jake from State Farm. There's not so many of us that are making hundreds of
There's
thousands.
only one flow. Hey, and what she means is that if you're able to get a commercial on a commercial where you're a spokesperson, boy, you really hit the money pot for a few years. But it is so rare.
And even commercials, you used to be able to make like 30,000 and something commercial for a national commercial. Nowadays, it's more like 15,000.
Yeah, 10, 20 years ago, that was still the case. And like I said, there's very few valid voices out there on the YouTube streams that I'm noticing that knows what they're talking about. One of them is Script Doctor. The industry is also missing the network's cable shows, and studios overall no longer pushing for movie stars anymore because they view the IP as more valuable than the talent.
Well, not only on top of that, but it's one of those, what comes first, the chicken or the eggs? Or the chicken or the eggs, right? So they aren't going to give an actor the position to be the lead of a movie unless he's already a known name. But how do you become a known name? You know what I mean? You have to work. You have to grow. And that's something where there are no more movie stars anymore. Leonardo DiCaprio and Tom Cruise are not from our generation. You know what I mean? Like,
interesting.
They're the previous generation. And it, like, I remember years ago, no shade, but like they were trying to make Taylor Lautner like the action star. He did like the Twilights, he was doing Abduction, and it just it didn't hit. You know what I mean? But even like Michael B. Jordan, I don't know if he's considered a movie star. You know what I mean? Like there was a list that I saw on, I can't remember if it was Variety or Deadline, but it was like the top like 50 movie stars, and the top 10 were all over 40. Like Zendaya and Tom Holland, who you would think would be big stars, were like 20 something on the list. So like the movie stars that were mentioned were like Meryl Streep, Tom Cruise, Tom Hanks. And again, they don't even work that much anymore. So it's insane. There are no more movie stars, and that is because we are not being respected and treated like the talent that we are. And it's like, oh wait, your face and followers matter. And you know what I mean? Like, and yeah, it's crazy.
We're here with Chelsea Rendon, but now we're going to be joined by some more fantastic people. Let's bring in writer, novelist, and he's got a show. I think it's like on pause or something because of this darn strike. You know him, you love him, the great Kamran Pasha, and my barbecue buddy. What's up, man?
Thank you for having me on. And Chelsea, what a pleasure to connect with you. I've been watching this feed the whole time, and thank you for saying all the things that needed to be said. And I'm a writer and director. I'm WJ. I'm on strike right now, and you said it very clearly, and you said it very passionately. So thank you.
Oh, of course. Thank you so much. I support you guys. I've been out on that strike line with you guys since the beginning.
Well, I want to say this.
Please.
I'm very happy. I'm not happy that any of this is happening. None of us is. We wanted a resolution. We still want a resolution. We want a resolution today, right? Nobody wants this. We want to get to work. We want to create things for the audience. That's what everybody wants who has their brain on properly. but a lot of people weren't ready for SAGs to strike. They didn't expect it. You guys haven't done that in 40 years. Our two unions have together not been on strike in 60 years or more. And so the last time it was two of us together was what established our pension funds. It was that important, right? You know, I mean, we can't even imagine. It's been 2 generations, maybe 3 generations almost, that have had a pension fund because those people struck together 60, 70 years ago, right? So this is very critical. I will say the fact that nobody, including my fellow writers, none of the executives I've talked to, none of my friends or execs, whatever, none of them expected the SAG-AFTRA to strike. Partly it's because, frankly, this, as you know, Chelsea, this industry has a lot of disrespect and contempt for actors that's unfair. They think of them as little children. They, you know, all this stuff. Romy experiences this all the time. Romy's one of the smartest business women that I've ever met. She's a mature adult, right? And also a good craftswoman. So, but they have this projection. They're like, oh, these kids will take whatever we offer them. And then you didn't. And what I will credit SAG especially for is you guys stuck all the way past midnight trying to resolve this. Yeah. You tried to find us. You didn't want to strike. Fran didn't want to strike. Duncan didn't want to strike. You tried to fix this. And those negotiators in the room, they're just the AMPTV. They're not the people in charge. They've just been given instructions by the studio heads, Ted Sarandos and others, and they called and they're like, "Nah, we're not going to change anything." So those people aren't even in the room to make those decisions. You fought all the way to the end. You even gave them one more day. You had the press conference, really brilliant, wonderfully done press conference by Fran and the whole negotiating team, the SAG board, that the whole world followed. There were people from Japan, who were journalists there that were covering for Japan television. And, then you still didn't strike for another day. Fran said, we hope they'll come back this afternoon. We don't want to do this. Right? Yeah. Right. You gave them every opportunity. So I'm going to say something, and Chelsea, you don't have to agree with this. I'm just going to be self-critical of my guild because I 100% support SAG. I support my fellow writers. I have had a lot of issues with our leadership and how they handled the strike before and how they've handled it now. When I looked at the demands that SAG is striking over, I was like, these all make sense to me, 100%. I was like, this is stuff that has to be struck over, right? Especially with this AI nonsense where, they could take your image, Chelsea, and just use it forever and manipulate it forever. And that's insanity. And the thing is, the average person knows that's wrong, right? Most of what the Writers Guild membership wants and most of what is in our proposal is like yours. It's about pension stuff. It's about our, income. Those are all rational things. Sadly, some of our leadership has gotten stuck on something that at least I don't, and the majority of people, showrunners, don't want, which is they've been pushing this. We're going to guarantee how many writers are on a writing staff. I'm running a show right now. I want the flexibility to hire 3 writers, 7 writers, 2 writers best on the show. I don't want that. Most showrunners don't want that because we have to have some flexibility. It'd be like the actor saying we demand that every show has a minimum number of SAG members. That's not a rational ask, right? Every production is different. Sadly, some of the leaders are fighting for that. I'm not fighting for that. I'm fighting for everything you're fighting for. I'm fighting for everything that's rational, that's on the economic table. And I'm actually hoping now that because you have shaken up this town, that we can actually get a resolution. And maybe, because the difference between what you did and what my leaders did, my leaders walked out at 8:30 at night. They didn't stay till midnight or 1 a.m. They didn't give them another 24 hours and beg them to come to the table. They said, you're not going to give us this minimum room guarantee. We're out of here. We're going to go home, go watch, Vanderpump Rules. That was a mistake, in my opinion. And
sure,
it's been 2 months with no effort to fix it because the studios are never going to bend on that. Nothing you're asking for is that crazy, and everything can be resolved. And that's why I'm so hopeful that your SAG's entry into this will bring rational players to the table and remove crazy people. And so we can get a deal that actually makes our lives work.
And honestly, I would say I would reach out to as many writers or showrunners that and have them all emailing your leaders.
We do that. They ignore it. We don't have the kind of. I'm being very critical of the leadership. They ignore. I've been telling you, they ignore the emails. They don't bother. They've been doing this since they forced us to fire agents 3 years ago. They believe they know what's best for us. I have some these are the same people that have made a lot of strategic errors. Tried to resolve this with SAG because you still have a good relationship with them, right? The agents were like, you guys fired us. We don't need you anymore. We are suffering from a stupid leadership, but we're all in this boat now. And the fact is your leadership is smarter than ours. And I think you're going to get us out of this.
All right, mi gente, live in the chat, over 130 people now are with us. Smash the like, share the link. Thank you all so much. Muchísimas gracias. You're not going to get this conversation on any other channel. I'm telling you guys.
And there's
it
layers
just,
to it. We're not exactly agreeing on everything, but we're trying to get to the same
Sure.
resolution. That's
but
what
it's
this
also
channel's
going to get
about.
better
It's getting
because
discussion.
it's also going to get better now, guys. It's been great. Chelsea Rendon, SAG actress, SAG strike. Kamran Pasha, Writers Guild. And now we got a double banger. We got an actor and a writer. He's on he's a double striker. The great Tom Konkle. What's up?
2 strikes against me. Yeah. Well, thanks for having me on, Cameron, Chelsea, Paulie. I'm honored to be here and have this conversation. I was listening in. You guys had great points. I feel like we're, sometimes it's whistling in the apocalypse as far as the people we're negotiating with, because the threat to us is also a threat to them. I can't wait for an AI CEO to take over.
Tom, before I get into, I have 3 general questions for you guys. Before I get into it, though, is there anything else you'd like to add right now as far as what you've heard?
Well, the boots on the ground this is the reckoning. As Cameron's just saying, it hasn't happened since I think 1980, and certainly it hasn't been a situation where several guilds' contracts expired at the same time, which gives us a lot of leverage. Everything's motivated by a sort of predatory greed. And the landscape of the business has changed so much, even in the last 5 years, let alone 30 years, that it was always to their advantage to not be transparent, to, in other words, sell, you're selling now an NBC program to themselves on NBC.com, and your residuals and your payment as an actor is based on the sale price. So they're like, hey, $2,000, The Office for $2,000, we can sell it to ourselves, and then you see your residual check go from 200 to 14 cents. So my overarching comment, just from what I've heard from both of you so far, is yes, it's unfortunate but necessary, and more importantly, it is a fundamental chance to look at how do we do business. Why are artists that create the IP, artists that execute the IP, why are we treated as liabilities instead of assets?
I mean, what I want to add to what Tom has just said, and going to Chelsea.
Sure.
What blew me away in what SAG proposed is hold on. I think I'm getting a little bit of
I'm hearing an echo too.
We're hearing a delay.
Sure
if you have an extra window open, just mute it.
Okay, I'm gonna. Hopefully that's not me, but yeah, okay. So I still think it's going on. My window's closed, so if there's someone out there still doing it,
Tom or Chelsea, you have an extra window open?
No.
All right.
No.
Fletcher, you know what's going on?
Yeah, I sorry to put you on blast, but I think it was when Tom came in. I don't know if you're hearing it, but because you have an outside mic, it's being heard back.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I think we're having a time delay in your sound, Tom. So I think that's a part of it. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Let me see if I can fix it.
There's something.
Why don't you pop out and come back in, Tom?
Okay. And so, but I want to add what Tom was saying, because I was blown away by something the SAG proposed. I was blown away by it. Writers are talking about it. The Directors Guild and the Writers Guild both gave up on trying to revamp the residual formula. We just gave up. That's not even in our proposal we're fighting for. The DJ didn't bother. Wow. Then SAG came up with a solution that works. I mean, it's something that no one's thought of, which is essentially because the problem we're having is that the Netflixes and the Hulus of the world and the Disney Pluses don't want to admit to the world how many people are actually watching their shows, right? They want to lie to us. I loved Wednesday. I don't know how many people watch Wednesday, but they tell us that's #1 show in the world. I mean, is that #1? Like, people tuned in for 1 minute? Did people tune in for 30 minutes? We don't know. They won't tell us. And they're afraid. The reason they won't tell us is that the numbers are bloated. And if they told the truth, their stock price would go down, because people are like, well, not that many people are watching as you claimed, right? And so they don't want to tell us. And so they're like, we're not going to be able to revamp the residual formula because that would go into our private discretionary data that they want to give out. SAG solved it. SAG came up with this incredible formula, which is essentially basically creates a pool. It creates a pool, of money for residuals, which would be divided essentially based on the number of hours or something. There was a metric to gauge it without forcing them to reveal their secret data. And there would be an overall pool from which residuals would come, which would increase the residual payout to everybody, to actors, to writers, to directors, with this formula. The writers were staring at this. I'm a former lawyer. We're looking at this like, man, why didn't we think of this? This works. This satisfies their concern that they don't want to reveal some of their private data. And it gives us a pool from which stronger residuals will come. Because I've actually been blessed. I have not worked much in like these Netflixes and whatever. So I'm still getting decent residuals because I worked on Showtime. I worked on NBC, right? But, you know, if you work on Hulu, if you work on these things, your residuals go down to zero, right? Or very close thereof. That's what Chelsea's going through. And so this would address it. SAG solved it. And I'm like, hey, man, we got to adopt. That's actually worth fighting for. This is the solution. This is the formula that works, because in a negotiation, both people got to get what they need. Mm-hmm. These people want to preserve certain secrets. We want increased residuals. The SAG formula will do it.
Okay, right? So this is how I want to do it, guys.
Wait, hold on. Also,
we'll
I
do
want to
one
follow
more.
up.
Hold on a second, Chelsea.
Whatever you read, because I haven't seen a lot of this information personally. So
I'll go back to the threads and I'll put my email in there. You and I just followed
go
you
to
on
the private
Instagram.
chat connect.
Yeah.
So this is what I'd like to do, guys. I'm gonna read one super chat. I'd love for you guys to answer. We'll do ladies first, then Cameron, then Tom. Then I have questions for you guys.
Let's do ladies first, then Tom, then Cameron.
Yeah, we'll round robin. And very, very, very handsome glasses there, Mr. Cameron. Very nice, very nice. Shelly Lee's a member of the channel. She comes in with $11. Stay strong, Cameron, Chelsea, and Tom. The last time the writers and the actors went on strike, Ron Reagan was president of the union. And we know what he went on to do. So President Drescher is coming up. Oh my God. There's a lot of people been saying that from one speech. You guys got anything to say about that?
Oh, I'm supposed to. Okay.
You don't have to. I'm just saying.
As you can see, my face has a lot of thoughts. I find that to be hilarious. I think that's a joke. I hope that's a joke. Because we need to have actual politicians running the show. And we saw what happened with Trump. So no. But yeah, this is a very historical thing. Like, just down the bottom line, this is a historical moment. And it shows the importance of what is happening. You know what I mean? Like, and that's why I love that they're kind of quoting Hamilton. History has its eyes on you. History is watching us, because this is going to determine whether this industry completely goes down in the next 10, 20 years, or if we're going to be able to like save it and keep thriving. But that's my comment.
Gentlemen?
Tom, you go. I talked.
Tom's muted. Tom, get it together.
What's up with sound today, Tom? Come on, man.
Yeah, you're still muted. Check your settings, my brother.
Okay.
There we go.
Mute.
I'm hearing something.
Okay, am I coming through? Are you
beautiful? Yay. Okay, go for it, Tom. Yes.
Okay. I don't know. Maybe it's because I insulted Bob Iger here in Burbank. Yeah, she would need to probably run for, I don't know, governor, other things. But the big picture is she, as an actress, and was able to execute the speech really well. One thing that SAG has been quite bad at, surprisingly, is articulating their argument. Ooh. I remember in the last strike, everyone's like, they're just rich people in limos, when it was about commercial. And it's like, no, you realize jobbing actors make about $26,000. They are not rich, but we are communicators, and we did not communicate our argument quickly enough and effectively enough. This time, because bigger stars are involved, I feel like the conversation's already shifted. But the fundamental problem remains, as I said, we're perceived as liabilities instead of assets, but also with streaming the way it's been this whole time, and as somebody who makes films and sells them, acts in other people's things and writes them, no one on streaming is buying a ticket to your show. It's all an aggregate. And so it would be as if either AMC is just selling you a ticket to the movie theater, and you can decide what movie you want to go in. You can watch the same movie 100 times, or you can go to each one of the movies. But there isn't like a runaway hit. If you put Jaws out on streaming, it wouldn't be a hit. It would just be, yeah, that got more subscribers, but those people could have watched this or this or this or this or this, and it may not have even made what it made. And they love that, because there's no way to pin down an advertiser advertising in a prime spot, or that someone bought a ticket specific. So I really feel like the articulated argument from someone like Fran Drescher is, it is not an elite 1% that is having a problem with this. It's people that want it as a profession. There's nothing wrong with being an amateur, but the difference between an amateur and a professional is not the skill level. It's that you need to make a living at it. You need to be free to audition. You need to have time to hone your skills, and you need to have the resources to be in either casting or writing spec scripts, and not in starvation mode. Cameron, you'll agree with me. You're not in your best mode when you're worried about paying your next bill. You're not in that flow creatively. So I really feel like we're lucky to have someone that's articulating the argument, but it needs to be re-articulated all the time.
Brilliant.
And honestly, I am a perfect example of that. I have been in the union since 2000. I have been a working actor and able to survive until now.
Let's talk about that.
You know what I mean? I am 30 years old, having my first day job. And mind you, over the years, I've done the Uber, or I've done some like open houses, like here and there. But this is the first time where I literally was just in the emergency room with heat stroke and dehydration because I'm trying to do it all and having this sort of thing. And again, it's champagne problems, right? I never used to worry about, my bills because I had this money, but it's the reality of it. And this is all because of streaming and residuals. Like on top of that, mind you, like the last few years because of the pandemic, for me personally, a lot of things were in the older demographic, in the older age range, in the 30s. I'm 30 years old. I don't look like I'm 30. So part of it is just, it wasn't being written. Therefore, I wasn't, really having the opportunities. And it wasn't until this year that I actually was a guest star on a sitcom, was the lead of an indie film, and did a short film. But like from 2020 to 2022, I did 2 shorts and 1 voiceover gig. And that was it. And that was the longest that I've gone with that little work. You know what I mean? So it's part of different what's available and what's available out there. But then it's also residuals used to keep me going. I've gone a year with that work before, but residuals were coming in. You know what I mean? And it was a better amounts of money that actually go along with what the pay is and what the rates are. Like, again, rent, I think the average rent in LA is like $2,200. I don't even pay that. I pay $1,800 because I'm a smart bitch. And I was like, let me get an affordable place because you never know what's going to happen.
I want to live where you live.
You sound just like Roby.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But
Latinos for you, man.
I survived for 3 years off of my last season of Vida, Shameless, and I think that was it. And then I got like the PPP loans when it was coming through. But that's because I budgeted well. That's because I wasn't buying
Partying all
yachts
the
or
time.
going on boats and doing stuff like, how I partied? I would get a massage. I would pay $100 for a massage because it was amazing. But it's just the money's not there, and it is causing, again, writers and actors, and it truly, again, it's an art, it's a craft what we do, and they are making it all about business, and they're making it all about numbers per se when it's a craft. You know what I mean? Like it and that's where, again, the AI is like stupid, because my friend actually made a good point, and she was like, the difference between us as humans, we aspire and admire other people that have done what we're doing. We admire actors and writers and directors. And when you have AI, you don't have anybody to admire. And it like takes that away. And I think that's a really important thing, because truly, I don't think we can ever truly be replaced by AI.
No, we won't be.
You know what I mean? That's not possible. We want to see a human crying and feeling what they're feeling and connecting to that. So I don't think we can truly ever be replaced. But the fact that they're even considering it, and they want, let's have AI help you. Like, it's like, no. We are human beings. What we're doing is a craft that you have to hone, and you use your own personal experiences to tell a story, to write a story. And that is how people connect to it.
And art comes from the soul. I have a ontological position that computers are not alive. They'll never be alive. There's no soul there. I don't care how much you mimic with AI. You have something that mimics what human beings have already created. Maybe do it to a remarkable level, but it can never create something new. right? And I believe that fundamentally on a core level. As an artist, I experience it, right? All of us are artists. Every one of us on the screen, including you, Paulie, are artists, right? And so we all know that. And so the phenomena that Chelsea's talking about, this moment where all these executives are getting excited about AI, it's, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of that moment where remember when, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, that game show with Regis Philbin, when it first premiered, it was such a huge hit. What did the executives decide? That's all people want. People don't want to watch dramas. So they put on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire 7 nights a week. They stopped developing dramatic shows on ABC for a season. Remember that, Tom, right?
Yeah.
It was like, what do you mean you're not going to make any new shows? People are just going to watch this game show all the time? And within
you don't have to pay
3
residuals.
months, people stopped watching it altogether because it had flooded the market with this stupid game show.
Yeah.
And then suddenly they're like, oh my God, ABC's behind everybody on development because we didn't make any new shows. That's the level of stupidity involved, because there's no understanding of human nature involved in these kinds of discussions, right? That's the foolishness of it.
Yeah, I think you're right. I agree with both of your points. However, I do think that we are replaceable, and I'll tell you why. The minute you prioritize the efficiency and volume of creativity, which is what they're doing, you eliminate that human spark. AI is a soulless genie that can summon up things that are good enough.
Mm-hmm.
And to the undiscerning public, who has already been trained to see, filters on your pictures on Instagram. They're used to auto-tune, which makes your voice sound like a robot. It will be good enough for them to bill people for that, and they're not going to be discerning enough.
For schlock, maybe. There's a schlock market. There's always been a schlock market.
Absolutely. And I feel like the danger of AI is it removes the impetus and the desire to learn the disciplines of writing and acting. It eliminates the desire in a person to prolong the instant gratification of, give me a story in the style of Stephen King and this, and outline it, and then there it is. Because you didn't acquire the discipline to create. What's going to happen is we develop a recursive society where there will be a point where we no longer create anything new, but everything is resampled, reconfigured from existing things in IP and disguised as something new.
But I would suggest that's unsustainable, Tom. I would suggest
and that's exactly I agree.
That to me is, we know as humans we race to the unsustainable quite quickly. And I think that the problem will be that it's not just us. We might be the first in line, but ask a blue collar worker about robots and they'll tell you the same thing. The reason that AI and creativity went after us is because it lives on the internet. And so it was accessible. The very thing that makes us human, that has our soul, is the spark of creativity, which we don't know how it works. We can't imbue it in AI. But AI can access the complete depth and breadth of the human experience in art, in writing, in music, and resynthesize it in a way that somebody can monetize, because you have a worker now, a soulless genie who doesn't need love, doesn't feel the joy of creating, doesn't need to rest, doesn't need to be paid, and doesn't have any rights. And so that's, as a corporate fascist insect, that's incredibly attractive.
Well, that's right on time. Technology. I agree.
Right on time.
I think they're going to learn the hard way. That's not going to work out for them, because
I agree with you 100%.
Soul is going to rebel. Even now, what do we have that phrase, uncanny valley? When we look at things that are, when we look at a lot of these sort of CGI creative things, even that, we don't have that effect even with cartoons. But when we look at something that CGI created, we sense there's no soul there, and there is a visceral bodily reaction to the
I agree with
I will say,
Cameron, let me get this in, guys. Script doctor, AI will be just as abused as CGI green screens and actors alone on a set instead of reacting off of talent.
Yeah.
Well,
Also, too, Daryl Bureau for $5. Thank you, Daryl. Member of the channel. This has several nuances of the manufacturing industry. Tom just said that. Automated versus the person in the line.
Okay, so, and I don't want to interrupt, because I want
let's get Chelsea. Let's get Chelsea.
All right.
Well, no, I was going to say, that was a perfect example. I enjoyed the Indiana Jones movie that just came out, but there was moments when you could see it was like a game, like a video game. And it completely took me out. And mind you, I get it. You want to have a young version of him, but then get an actor that looks like him to play the young version of him and call it a day, because I could not get over the You know what I mean?
But-
And again, mind you, I'm in the business, so maybe that's why I have the opinion
Sure.
that I have.
Yeah,
But
the
what
box
I'm
office shows other people shared your opinion.
But exactly. So many people, and a lot of people were like, oh, it felt nostalgic. So it was okay. Like it was fine because it was nostalgic. But that lasts for this little. And that's why I feel like what Tom's saying, you're right. We technically can be replaced. But with the How to Make a Millionaire thing, it's gonna last for this long, which is gonna crumble this industry. And we are the people fighting. Like, don't be stupid. Don't jump off that cliff. Just wait. Give us this thing and we will build you a bridge. And that way you can use it to a sense, but it's not going to cripple us and ruin this industry that we're in. And again, it's the same thing like they're talking about the industry of like robots versus people and stuff like that. Yes, there are certain cases where it's beneficial, right? Yeah, and again, it still technically takes away jobs from real people, but it has worked and people do it. Doesn't mean that it's right, but it technically does work. But with what we do, it's not sustainable. It's not truly like it's not smart business at the end of the day. They're trying to make smart money, but it's not smart business.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a minute break. I'll let my panel grab some water, do what you got to do. I'll come back on solo. I'm going to bring you guys back in one by one. But let's take a minute break, guys. Super chats, questions to the panel is what I'm going to read first. So let's get that going. But we'll be right back. Enjoy.
Paulie and his slanty nose, they're the heroes of the right. Spitting truth and you open up my right. They dissect the issues, bringing light to the dark. Like surgeons with precision, they hit the target, leave a mark.
Arr.
Noise.
Arr.
Hey, do a mariachi one.
Oh my God. Paulie back here on the Latino Slant. Thank you guys for being here. We are live only once a week, every Monday afternoon, 12:30 Pacific, for a few hours. And what I can guarantee you is some great talk, some real conversation with real people in the business. Next week, we're working on the flaming hot real life person behind the story. Looks like he's going to come live with us, tell us his story. Great film. Check it out. Also, to the almost 130 people live in the chat, is everyone subscribed to the channel? Subscribe now. Has everyone hit the like? Hit the like now. Let's read a couple of non-strike super chats, and then I'm going to bring the panel back in. Jim Watiri for $10. He's a member of the channel. I was wondering if you, Paulie, are going to the San Diego Comic-Con. I might, Jim. I might. There is a badge waiting for me, but I might. It depends on a few things, but it's looking good. I can definitely maybe make it for one of the evenings as well. Jeremiah Himbry for $5. Thank you, Jeremiah. It's all Sound of Freedom, and it's hard for me to compose my words about this film. It was hard for me to compose myself to even walk out of the theater, man. Jeremiah, I totally get it. It is really, and I'll just say this once, and we'll move on. But turn off all the political noise, guys, that you're hearing from either side. Go see the film. Let's go see the film. And all right, I think we're ready for. Well, Olaf, he's a member. He's a mod. He's a member of the channel. He's a great guy. Thank you so much, Olaf. No question but praise for bringing these people to give their take and share their experience in the field with us, allowing us to give their input too. Yeah, you know what? And these are busy people. And this is really what I wanted you guys to get was that these are real people. and they represent the majority of actors and writers, not the elite minority, which is great because you need them also too. You need those Matt Damons and those types to kind of be the face of certain injustices as far as whatever that these guys are fighting for, from residuals to even auditioning out of your home, all those things. But it's all about that 87%, man. It really is. So that being said, thank you guys so much. We have some more super chats, but they're for people that are it's for our panel. So I want to save the super chats for our panel. Oh, wait a minute. We have one more. WDW Pro for $6. Friend of the channel, and he's been very supportive of the Latino slant. Congrats on 6K, Paulie. Watching closely and love this channel. Hey, man, thank you so much. Yes, the Slantino Nation is over now. 6,000 of you guys. Let's get to 10K. Why are we waiting? Subscribe now. Okay, are we ready, guys? Let's bring back our panel on. Actress Chelsea Rendon, Shameless Vida Tax Collector. Hope you're electrolytes, girl. You're on mute. You're on mute. You're muted.
I pulled them. But no, I was saying I'm literally emailing Cam right now. He just emailed me and we're gonna get coffee. And it's like, this is the beauty of what you do. You bring people together and you connect and it's a community. And it's really beautiful.
I love it. I know you're all trying to be funny.
I was like,
and speaking of writer, novelist Kamran Pasha, mi amigo. Catch him on his Patreon. Links are in the chat. His Patreon's just like mind-blowing, prolific.
Well, and Paulie's a great member on it. And so, Justin, I'm looking forward to your email. And as I shared in the email, we've got something in common. So we'll talk about that when we meet up. But yeah, when Tom comes back on, I actually would like to comment about the Sound of Freedom, because there's something specific that happened today in Hollywood with people I know with regard to it. And I actually brought you into it, Paulie. I brought your channel into it.
The double threat. His name is Tom Konkle. Yeah. And Trouble is my business. He's got a movie out. So you got to check out this film. We're going to put the link in the chat, everybody. It's been too long. We actually used to stream a lot last year, my friend.
Yeah, we did. We had a blast, especially during the pandemic. We got some deep dives into some things, and this is a really interesting conversation. I'm looking forward to talking more about it and hearing what everybody has to say, because AI is a sticking point, residuals are a sticking point, but I think the fundamental business plan for artists is the sticking point.
Yeah, it's always that commerce versus art. Leo Cody for $3. He did the video for us, and we have a new meme coming from him. Chelsea, do you have a Zoom strike call?
No.
I don't know what that.
I think that's a joke, but I'm not quite getting. He's like,
I don't know what that means.
Pick it through Zoom. We all pick it when we can. Our pickets they allow people to come in and out. Everyone's got to come and support when they can.
Yeah.
A Zoom strike call. Oh,
I'm on strike.
I think maybe because I'm wearing the shirt, but I was doing it for this. I don't.
No, Leo. Don't super chat again. Give us some more information on what you mean by that.
Yeah, please.
Mexican Iron Man, who is the man. $9.99. Yes. I think that the level of executive compensation that the studio execs gets is outrageous. They make tons of cash for bad decisions that affect great directors, writers, and actors like this panel. Ugh.
That's a great point. But the compensation is so out of whack now, proportional to what other people make. And remember, they're paid for doing sort of big picture ideas, like, well, let's change HBO Max to Max. What do you think? Those are the big decisions. But at the end of the day, the people that are making the company money are the boots on the ground artists and workers and crews. And it's gotten so disproportionate, their compensation, that literally, the annual salary on one of these people is close to what everyone else is asking for. And more importantly, it's somehow news. Like, I'll see something come on, I was like, oh, it went down to 29 million this year. But he was making 29 million for 10 years. So how do you not live on that? So, and I get it. Everyone should be remunerated for what they're worth, but the perceived worth is way out of whack now.
Yeah. I think Sean Gunn mentioned that in his interview the other day on the picket line, where back in the day, CEOs made 30 times what the actors made, but now it's 400 times. And it's like
4,000 times.
Oh,
yeah. 4,000 times. Yeah.
And I'm like,
I mean,
what? Like,
yeah, it's crazy. It is so out of whack that of course they don't want to be transparent. Of course, you know, these are tech companies. They're treating us now like they used to treat programmers. It's like, hey, do the video game, work 16 hours a day, and once the video game comes out, we're going to fire everybody. I mean, that's what they're used to. That's how video games are made. That's how people are treated. There's a burn through rate of like 90% where they scorch earth, they get everything they can out of you and don't pay any residuals. And I remember doing video games where I would be captured or whatever. You'd get your day rate, make a couple $1,000. Then they invited me to the launch. Yeah, and they invited me to the launch party and announced that the first week it had made $50 million. This video game, you know, and because the price is $69 a disc, you know, to go through. And I'm sitting there at the party, like, yay! I'm so glad you guys are doing great. And this guy didn't even know the game. Like he didn't. I hear it's great. I hear you did a great job on it. And he got paid, you know, millions for doing it, and they made 50 million, and there are no residuals. There is, you know, I was staff writer on an animated Warner Brothers show for 2 years. You don't get one residual for an animated show. I made zero, and I noticed they sold the show to Boomerang for $60 million.
I just want to say, I just want to say, I'm so sorry for cutting you off, but audience, listen to what these guys are saying. This is not an isolated event. Romy's got stories. Chelsea, Cameron. In fact, that's one of our. You kind of dipping in there already. Let's bring this up as far as, you know, story or experience that you can share with us in regards to some injustice, something that's bullshit, and that falls right in line. Audience, this is not. These aren't entitled, out of touch people. They're hardworking people that just want what's fair.
Right. So I want to say this, especially Cameron, because we just talked about this. So on the show that I was on with Stars, my rate was per episode was $25,000, and in the contract they made $10,000 of that upfront residuals.
Yeah, prepaying.
So this was years ago, where technically it wasn't allowed, and it's different than what they're doing now. So pretty much that means that instead of making $25,000 per episode, truly I made $15,000 an episode.
They bought out your residuals?
So
that's
why I get $20 checks from Stars. And that's why I get maybe $200 checks from them. And I'm not getting thousands of dollars, because $200,000 of my pay that was a part of what I made over the 3 seasons was upfront residuals. And now studios and stuff are doing that, but what they're doing is they're saying, hey, your rate is $25,000. I'm going to add an extra $7,000 on top of that for upfront residuals. But that's not what was done to me. You know what I mean? They technically robbed me of $200,000, and technically it's all legal. They figured out the jargons or whatever. Like, I have a claim open with SAG and we're still fighting it, because it's like $22,000, $220,000 that they owe. And that for me was a super big, like, wait, what? And like I said, it's more common practice now, but it's adding something to the bottom line. Okay, your rate is this, we're going to add to that, not taking out of your rate. So when my quote was supposed to be 25 an episode, it realistically was 15. And that for me is like.
So let me clarify for the audience who may not understand why residuals are important. I'll make it very simple. The residuals are essentially the royalties. Like any creative person, I'm a novelist as well, right? I get royalties for my work when people buy my books, right? I get royalties from that. I get an annual royalty check or quarterly reports from my publisher, blah, blah. That's a normal thing for creators, and that's what we're doing. That's what writers, actors, and directors are doing. We're creating something from scratch, right? And so what that royalty gets most of us through our dark moments, our dark nights of the soul, which is most of this journey, right? I have been in this industry 22 years. 4 of those years, I have done really well, like lots of money. 4 of those years. 18 of those years, I'm like, okay, Okay, I made my rent
Yeah.
again. Okay, all right. Next month I'll figure it out. Next month, 18 of those years, and residual royalties are been the primary bridge that allows me. Okay, next month I think I got this one right. And when those go down to zero, you're like, I guess I'm out. I guess I'm out. I guess I got to go back to New Jersey. That's it, right? And if you have something of value to add, that's a loss for everybody. Everybody loses.
I think that goes under. I think that goes under the theme of general misconceptions, Tom, in regards to actors and writers and residuals. Like, we care to kind of share on that, just with like what Cameron just said.
The point he was making is valid. The real difference is this. Residuals are not free money that you're getting for doing nothing. Residuals are if you had to go to everybody's front door and knock on it and say, hey, I'd like to do a show for you right now, you would expect to get paid. But more importantly, the reason we pay so much to surgeons for their experiences, that hour that they're operating on you, you are paying for the 20 years of training, experience, expertise that surgeon is bringing for that 1 hour for you to do it successfully. Ditto an actor. If it comes to the realm of the hobbyist, it's going to cost the studio money. They won't know where to stand. They won't know how to perform. They won't know how to do their lines. They won't know stagecraft. Our job is driving around looking for jobs. The reward is acting. And so the residuals get you through so that you're not the hobbyist, that you're able to continue your training, that you're able to do good auditions, that you're free during the day to go to these fittings and go to auditions and all the things you need to do. But also residuals are the very fabric of the success of a show. Companies are making money by reselling and licensing your work over and over again. In other words, they are creating a rubber stamp of your performance and selling it over and over and over again as if you're just doing it that time. I've done over 100 commercials. And in the 90s, when I first started, you'd have a commercial that if you did 1 or 2 national commercials, you made enough money to have health insurance, to be able to buy the basics and do it. I have seen that in my 30 years in the business go to nothing. Literally, I had 2 spots on and did not make insurance, was below the poverty level, but was considered overexposed because I was in 2 spots. The other thing is the incursion of non-union has taken over 70% of the market. So it went from me desperately wanting to get into SAG to get the very cherry jobs to 3 years ago, I was auditioning and a director I worked with before on things, he goes, oh man, I'd love to bring you in on this, but you're union.
Yeah, man. Wow.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Wow.
And it's also just to again, the way that residuals normally worked for network is I believe you would get, say, like I said, if it's like $9,000 for a guest star, right? You would get 75% of that when it aired the second time. So when you got paid, it included your work and that first airing. But then the second time it aired, it would get, I think, like 75% or somewhere around that number. And then it goes down every time it airs. So I still get residuals from ER and The Shield that I did 20 years ago. But it's it ends at 1.5%. So you will continuously get residuals as it is alive. But streamers don't do that number because I'm currently rewatching NCIS. I used to love that show. So I'm on season 10 now, and I started from season 1 because I want to see the new later seasons that I haven't seen the last like 3 or 4. But I am watching that. And maybe not a lot of people are watching it, but I'm watching it. But they're not getting paid for the views that I am watching it right now, which they should be. You know what I mean? So on streamers, you don't get that. And on top of that, there's no numbers out there. Like I think somebody said that earlier, like there's no public numbers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and that's a big issue as well. So like Tom's saying, they're licensing and they're selling it for X amount and then they're paying you peanuts. But like, that's not the way that it has been, because networks, you made 75 and then 70 and then 65 and then 60 and it ended at 1 something. But again, you were getting paid like 9,000. So I think at the end, like it's $100 or so, that like 1.5%, right? And we don't see that anymore. Like it's non-existent, and that's a really big factor.
Great talk here, everyone. You guys are amazing in the chat and of course our panel. Let me tell you guys, you're not going to get this conversation on any other channel because you're not going to necessarily agree with everything that we're saying, but that's why you need to listen. That's what good conversation, good discourse is all about. Cameron, Sound of Music, Sound of Freedom. You had something you wanted to bring us completely different.
Well, different. I wanted to bring this up because it happened today, a few hours ago, and it connects to our Hollywood is disconnected from the audience, is disconnected from culture, right? It's disconnected from what's really happening out there in the world. So Sound of Freedom is a huge success. Objectively, it is a huge success. It's a huge success for the audience. It's a huge success. It's a profitable movie. It's an independent film. I believe Disney had a claim on it. I believe Fox or one of the subsidiaries, and they let it go.
They owned it. They owned it.
They own it, and they let it go. So they're not getting that money. Right? Very smart. So I saw this today on a screenwriters board that I'm a part of. Where we're just talking about the strike and all this stuff and grumbling. And these are good people, famous screenwriters, a lot of Oscar winners on this board. And I'm a member and I'm on there. And suddenly, out of nowhere, people started talking about Sound of Freedom because they couldn't ignore it anymore because it's doing so well, right? And what I was shocked by this. It was a consistent narrative of nobody's watching Sound of Freedom. It's made up. The theaters are empty. This is screenwriters are telling this to each other. The theaters are empty, and this was Caviezel and his right-wing QAnon friends buying up rows of seats, and that nobody's. It's literally they can't face that this movie is doing well, so they're creating this conspiracy theory that's objectively false. And I'm seeing we're talking about famous screenwriters writing on this board, and finally I was like, what is going on here? So I come on there, I was like, I just want to let you know, I have quite a few friends all over the country who've seen this movie in packed theaters, and I've seen it multiple times in packed theaters. And, and then I said, can I ask you guys something? We were all of us in this industry, we're talking about human trafficking just 3 years ago under the Trump administration. That was the biggest story. Trump is letting human trafficking happen, blah, blah, blah. The immigration, he's letting it happen, right? Kids are disappearing at the border, right? That kind of stuff. Did that just stop? Just because you like this new guy? It's not happening? And it went dead silent. No one responded to my message.
Okay.
No one acknowledged it. Everyone immediately changed the topic. Let's go talk about the strike. And I was like, yeah, I'm not actually going to let that go. These guys are like leaders in this industry. You can't be promoting this garbage. It's just not true, right? And so I went back and I started posting videos from Latino Slant onto the screenwriters board. I posted a review that you did with Paul Chato, right? We talked about the hypocrisy of Hollywood. I posted the interview you did with that actor, right? One of the leads, right? Of course, they're all still ignoring it. I couldn't believe this. This is the level of disconnect from high-level people in my own guild who they're so twisted by the politics of the moment. They can't even acknowledge the success of this movie, and they can't acknowledge that its message is the message they themselves. You just don't like the Caviezel's or Christians saying it? Are you supporting human trafficking? What are you saying? And the answer is dead silence. It was so shocking to me. It happened only 2 hours ago.
Sure.
And I'm still by it.
Really fast. I know Chelsea wanted to come, but we had our barbecue this past weekend. Cameron was there. We had Kenneth Castillo. We had a great, really mix of people there, and I was talking to them, from my mom to different people, and they all love Jim Caviezel. Like they just besides, oh, he's so handsome, oh, he's such a great actor, that to regular people, that theory and what you're saying, like that weirdo-ness, whatever it is, they don't know anything about that. They'll either, they've liked him because he played Jesus, or, oh, I might go check out this film. But that was kind of the discussion amongst a general, like regular people, not, with the Hollywood, with the writers, elites and stuff like that. So, look, it's making money. People are seeing it. I don't know why people are, I mean, even if that's true, I don't care. I don't go to see a movie for far right or far left politics. If it's in the film, that's a different story. Then I'll make my own decision after I see the film. But I like making a sound, decision after I see stuff, after I read something. Or after I talk to somebody. That's just how it works. Forming an opinion. Anyone on the panel?
I know. I wanted to touch on that. I actually saw someone. A friend of mine post this, that they were not supporting the movie because the folks involved are MAGA, and the film even embraces canon. What is that word?
QAnon
conspiracies, which makes me very uncomfortable. So that's why that they weren't sharing about it. But if you watched it and you loved it, good. Just perhaps do some research on the producers and funding and stay informed. So that was something that I saw, and I didn't know what project it was, but now I know it's this one. But the thing that I find interesting about that is if we didn't support things that were from people in power that we didn't like, we would watch nothing. We would eat nothing. We would not live. You know what I mean? Like people are taking advantage of our Nikes. You know what I mean? Are made in places with little children and things like that, but we all still wear Nikes. So it was an interesting thing that's like, oh, well, I don't like it because it's MAGA. And it's funny because somebody actually reached out to me about Flaming Hot and was like, oh, I'm not supporting it because the pastor that's a producer is blah, 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 blah. And I was like, look, I have no idea about that. I don't know nothing about that. I love this story. I know that it's true. And it's an amazing thing for Latinos in Hollywood. You know what I mean? So it's interesting that this is now another common factor of another Latino project where it's like, oh, it's MAGA and QAnon and blah, blah, blah. But I didn't know about the movie. I think I've seen a few posters online in the last like 2 or 3 days. But I didn't know about it before. So it's just really interesting. But at the end of the day, like you're saying, the fact that it's talking about sex trafficking or children trafficking is a really big thing. It's stuff that has been going on for years and didn't just stop now with Biden. It's still, you know, an issue. And it's things that we need to talk about. But I think it's just that reminder to tell people, like, you support stuff in other ways. So why are you going to not do it here?
Well, and here's another thing, too, that I've talked about with Manny Perez, who came on the channel last week, a star in the film. This guy's a New York theater actor, you know, as liberal as they get. You know, he's like, stop it. This is a great film. There's no politics. And it's like, you know, and it was a great conversation we had with Manny. And I had a conversation with Cheto. The cast is all Latino. There's so many reasons to love and support this film.
Right.
Okay, the producer's conservative, MAGA. I have no power over that. I'll either, I'm not going to give it my money, but I'd rather give money this is me. Give my money to an independent film that hired all Latinos.
Yeah.
You know, like this is extraordinary performances. So that's just my take.
I agree. They're working. They got hired by that producer. You know, they are working.
They were working. And then this movie, I don't know if Tom or Chelsea, and probably Cameron too, have been a part of a project that was shelved for years, and then it sees the light of day. That never happens.
And it's better that it came out now in the zeitgeist. But that's the problem that I have. It's hypocrisy. When you're seeing the leadership of writers, isn't liberalism a more accepting, less intolerant point of view?
Supposed to be.
Yet they want to shut down
liberalism.
anyone.
I don't know what we got today.
Exactly. So the manifestations of the far left's intolerance is not as well known as the intolerance of the far right. And I think the problem with it is, if you're pretty apolitical, then the issue is this is about a hero going and rescuing children. We should all be against, no matter what our vector is that we get there, we're against child trafficking, the sex industry, etc. So by punishing them, I refuse to have the debate or engage it. You know, even unlike the 70s and 80s, I remember when you used to have the left and right in one talk show, and they would have a civil conversation between each other, and you could pick and choose, you know, Frontline or whatever you want to talk, and you wanted to pick what you wanted to have. You may not be all of one thing or all of another thing, but if you literally shut down the other side, and I'm talking about shutting down the left or the right and saying, no, it's evil, we'll restrict their freedom to say anything, we all suffer from it. We start to cut corners and we start to bend in the Constitution a little bit. And for me, the problem is this zero tolerance approach. It doesn't make anything better. And it doesn't forward us, because what if there's a kernel of something that you would learn? I don't even know what the QAnon, what is the conspiracy theory?
You know what? Hey guys,
yeah, exactly. Why is that part of this conversation?
Hey guys, really quickly, let's start saying that thing that, like, don't name it, because YouTube will probably take this stream down.
Oh, okay.
That's
Yeah.
how crazy stuff is.
So see, it was better that I didn't know the name and I was saying.
Ándale, pues.
By the way, I just want to say,
and then I want to move back on to the strike, guys.
So I want to say, sure. I went back on just now to my writer's board, and some of my friends are actually using that thing, saying, well, the movie, I don't want to support it. Yeah, the movie might be good. I don't want to support a movie made by people like this. And I'm responding right now saying, it's a show that actually didn't get on the air because of the people associated with it, only because they were uncovered. I was working on a show with Oliver Stone in 2016 on Showtime. About Guantanamo Bay, a dramatization of the trials that are still happening there's people being held in Guantanamo Bay for 20 years. Bush didn't get him out, Obama didn't get him out, and Trump didn't get him out, and Biden's left them there. And there's people there, you're like, wait, you were 15 years old and some dude in the village claimed you were a terrorist and stole your land and you're still here, right? I mean, there's some really bad stuff happening in Guantanamo Bay still. So Oliver wanted to make a TV drama based on those things. And we developed it. We had a room. We wrote the scripts. We were ready to go. And the person behind it, guess who was behind it? Harvey Weinstein. Harvey Weinstein was an executive producer on the show. It was Weinstein Company that worked with Oliver Stone to sell that show. And it was the only reason it didn't get on the air was because Weinstein, he was unmasked. I mean, Chelsea, we've all known what this garbage guy is, right? But Me Too began, and they decided to hold him accountable, right? And he was removed, and then Showtime's like, we don't want to be associated, even though they knew exactly what this guy was before they bought the show. It's out there in the public right now, and they pulled the show. It never got on the air. Great show. Never got on the air. Very important because people don't know what's happening in Guantanamo right now, which is if you're liberal, if you're conservative, it's a violation of the U.S. Constitution. It's immoral. It's been going on for 20 years. We don't know anything about it, right?
You were a part of that.
I was a part of it. I was writer on the show. Gotcha. I was writer-producer on the show. It never got on the air. And conservative friends of mine who are grumbling right now about Hollywood have said to me, how could you have worked with Harvey Weinstein? I said, well, number one, I never met the guy. He's just one of the chain of people that got the show greenlit. Number two, I'm trying to make a show talking about this important issue of human rights violations and constitutional violations of often innocent people being held in this island that we control, or part of an island that we control. So yeah, that's an important story I want to tell. And I was going to get involved, even though I knew exactly who this character was, right? Because I'm not.
I think like Cameron's saying is like, these people don't sit in the room with the writers or the producers, or they don't go to set. These executives are just names that are associated with the project, but we don't meet them. We don't know them. They're not there on the day-to-day. So it's not like we're choosing to work with the villain. You know what I mean? Like as actors, like yes, technically I could turn down a part if I really wanted to, but I don't have that luxury. You know what I mean? I'm not Meryl Streep. I'm not Will Smith that has all the money and can pick and choose. You know what I mean? Like that's part of being an actor. So it's also just to remember, like, even if you are on a project, like he said, that was technically under Weinstein's company, doesn't mean that was his friend and that they were going to drinks and they were hanging out. And he's like, hey, I know what you're about to go do right now, so I'm going to take off. Like that, that's not what the case is. But yeah, I just wanted to say that.
Yeah. So why don't
really
we get back,
fast? There's a very important question, Cameron.
Yes.
And I'm going to make Chelsea big because we don't want to see Tom or Cameron big. I mean, let's be honest, right?
And I look like a hot mess because I'm like.
No, you're always beautiful. But Script Doctor asks, why does the SAG-AFTRA have better strike T-shirts than Writers Guild? You got your T-shirt on, don't you?
Well, yes, but this just says SAG-AFTRA. We have the other ones that are going to say like SAG-AFTRA Strong or SAG-AFTRA like on strike.
SAG-AFTRA Strong, gotcha.
But this was just in support of the WGA.
Yeah, whatever.
But honestly, like it needs to not be black. Like you can't breathe in this. I'm not wearing this on the picket line.
Yeah,
like,
and then black outside.
But I'm no,
it's
I'm
hot
gonna have
outside,
my sign, but I'm wearing my tank tops and I want to be able to breathe and not pass out.
Yeah. Okay. We got a couple of super chats. You guys still got a couple minutes to hang with us, guys, on the panel?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, great. Romina Jones for 10 Canadian dollars. Could movie going for the masses become a thing of the past, like theater, movies, TV evolve a two-tier system, AI content for the masses, for elites, pricey tickets for films with real humans?
Nah, not gonna happen.
I hope not.
Because filmmaking is too important to the human condition. Filmmaking.
Say
is a
that again.
global
Say that again.
Filmmaking is too important to the human condition. It is hardwired into us as a human race, as a species. It goes back to sitting around with the shaman at a fire 10,000 years ago, in the darkness with the fire illuminating the shaman's face and the shaman telling you a story, right? That's how primordial filmmaking is. So no, that's not going to happen.
Okay.
The market will not allow it.
Yeah, whenever you create a two-tier system, it's wrong. The thing that's great about our country is everybody should have a chance to get exposed to everything. There needs to be a sense of community and a communal. That's the one thing the arts should enjoy. There shouldn't be music for the elites, music and movies for this group, but not for you. The thing that unifies us is the fact that we can all experience it and we're all equally able to have access to it. It's a terrible idea to create two tiers, two societies in parallel.
Oh, I'm sorry, Chelsea.
Oh no, no.
The Richard for $5. I'm pretty sure the PGS and World would love for you to make a doc on this dilemma, a la Hollywood injustice. Well, I feel I do that every week here on the Slant. I bring out Hollywood injustice from a Latino perspective, and sometimes even my homegirl doesn't agree with me. Sometimes, and she'll be like, "Hey, why didn't you like that shit?"
Forever was great.
And it was great having Chelsea on. We love her.
Did we lose Chelsea? She gone? She's back.
She left.
Later.
He kicked her off. He's like, no, you can't say that.
You got canceled. Yeah, you got canceled just now.
Okay, can I say something before we go about your first Black Panther? I enjoyed it, but you know why I didn't watch it a second time? You want to know, right?
Yeah.
Because it offended me as a Muslim. Let me tell you why. The opening scene, and only Muslims got it. My friend Abu Nas in the YouTube world, he got it. He's like, what is this, right? The opening scene where you have the sort of random terrorist dudes in Africa attacking the caravan of cars, whatever, right? Right? They're just nameless, faceless bad guys, right? That's all. And then Black Panther shows up, kicks their asses. But guess what? When he's kicking their asses, they start talking in Arabic and saying Wallahi, which is, calling out Allah in Islam. So they made them unnecessarily sort of like Boko Haram or Islamist terrorists. It has nothing to do with the scene.
It was
Some
specific.
dude said, let's make sure these guys are Muslim terrorists. Let's make that clear, right? So I was like, yeah, screw you, man. You ain't going to get my ticket again.
Was that a Ryan Coogler script? Did Ryan write that?
That's a Coogler script.
Yeah, Ryan.
Whether he wrote it or not, the studio wanted to make sure the line got it.
I didn't pick up on that, and I've seen it a few times.
Of course you didn't.
Interesting. Stephanie Janishak's Smuggler's Cantina comes in for $4.99. Hey, Steph. I'm really glad you guys are explaining this. Has streaming hurt actors and writers as much as I think?
You don't even know the half of it.
Yes, streaming didn't exist when the contract was formed that we're currently working on. It didn't even exist. So you can imagine how many loopholes a company looking for profit has poked holes in it. There was no such thing as streaming. In fact, when we went on strike for commercials in 2007, was it, Cameron? I don't remember. Do you remember, Chelsea? Was it 2007?
The writer's strike was 2008. I remember that.
But there was a commercial strike.
Maybe a year later. Maybe a year later than that.
Yeah, there was no YouTube really as a presence. Netflix was still mailing DVDs.
Hulu had just started.
Yeah, Hulu had just started. So it exponentially improves. And that's, again, the danger with AI. Remember how bad AI looked 2 years ago? Imagine how good it's going to look a year from now. They kind of dropped Chat GTP and everything on us in the last year or so, and it's exponentially getting better. The problem is everything will get exponentially worse for anybody that wants to make money. They want to keep as much of the money as possible. They always have. That's human nature. The problem is with collective bargaining with the unions, you can step up and say, no, you're actually taking advantage of us at this point, and you can shut it down. And we have shut it down. And it's going to cost them about $1 billion a month now, because all the productions are stopped, all promotions stopped, all red carpet events, the Emmys are stopped. No one is going to do anything. So they can sit on as long as they want, but it will devastate their business.
Honestly, I think they want this to be a write-off. Like, I think there is a number that the studios need to hit to write off this year. And that is why they have not tried negotiating with the writers. That is why they were trying to just hurry up with the directors and why they were trying to give us a shit deal as well. Because they need to hit a number. Like, I think about it. You scrapped Batgirl after it was filmed. Like, it was done, but you wanted that write-off. You know what I mean? So I'm like, what number do they need to hit to have this as a write-off and then come back to the table and say, here, we'll give you what you want now. We just needed to get in the green this year. Like, honestly, that's
you know what? You know what? And what Chelsea said in regards to Warner Brothers. I don't know if you met one of our friends at the barbecue, Cameron, but they work under Zaslav, and he's like, we're just trying to hold on to our jobs.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Well, he's just ordered 66.
Cut and slashing.
Yeah.
And he had been there before Zaslav.
He's still there. He's lucky.
I'll let you guys know more about it in the private chat, but very interesting.
Well, I wanted to just say, to add to what Chelsea said, because she hit the issue directly, and I can speak from personal evidence, or at least personal communication with. I have 3 screenwriter friends who are very successful, who have had big long-term deals with studios. Each of them has lost their deals in the last 2 weeks. We're talking about people that are making tens of millions of dollars over long-term, multiple deals. And I guess the studios decided, because they're locked into a 3-year or 5-year contract, they had to keep paying these people even if they didn't like it, or it's fair play. So we don't want any more thing. We don't like what you're doing. Which is
so what he's referring to is like force majeure, right? That's what
it was force majeure.
Yeah.
Force majeure. And now they're doing with actors. Actors have deals too.
And writers, showrunners can get an overall deal with ABC, and they have an overall deal for 3 years, and they're going to get paid $10 million on top of whatever they develop and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's like being on call. It's like when you put a lawyer, retain a lawyer. We're going to keep paying you this money, and whenever I need to call you, you come. Actor, okay,
and so
pay you the money. You're going to be on set tomorrow, and you just don't know when the call is going to come.
At the 60-day mark, right? At the 60-day mark, they could officially cancel all that,
and that's where it's beginning.
And that is what has happened.
Yeah, and now
throw this in there,
actors, and so
I want to throw this in there.
Yeah, that's where we are.
It's a great observation. Yeah,
look at that. I mean, this is
it could very well be cleaning house, and they're too
great
big
insight,
to fail,
Chelsea.
so they're just going to, okay, we're too big to fail, so we're going to write it all down.
Yeah. And on top of that, they just fired like 4 or 5 Black women in power from executive positions. Like, they were just fired about that.
The DEI women, yes, yeah.
So it's like there's all this craziness happening, and it is ridiculous. And there is they're doing it for a reason. It's not just, oh, we don't want to give them this or we don't want to pay them that. It's not that. Like, there is so much more at play that we don't know about. And that is why now that they're saying all these things about, oh, we want to get them to be homeless, and when they're homeless, they'll come back to the table. And it's like, no, you have taught us to live in poverty. Like, we are used to going 6 months or a year without work, so we know how to survive.
Especially the last few years.
Don't know how to survive. You guys are the ones that are going to freak out if
you can't get the yacht to have some gas.
I mean, eventually it will start impacting their stock prices. Look, this is one thing I've learned in the 22 years of getting my butt kicked in this town, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing happens without a reason, particularly strikes. Strikes happen because somebody wants a strike. Somebody wants a strike for whatever the reason is, right? Because nobody wants this work stoppage and a rational reason unless there's another rational reason to want the work stoppage. That's
why, again, I truly feel like SAG believed that we were going to get the deal that we wanted, because they sent out that video to us, which was creepy, honestly, where it's like, it's going good. So I'm like, the only thing that I can compute is that they were going through line by line in the 2 weeks that they were in negotiations, and the people across the table are like, okay, that seems reasonable. Okay. And then when they turned around and gave them the counter, and it was a slap in the face, I think that's why Fran Drescher is so mad, because she's like, you guys made us feel stupid because I believe we were in a good place, and then you're slapping us in the face with this ridiculous offer. Like, she was so mad, and even Duncan seemed so mad. And because they gave out that video, they thought it was going good. So I genuinely think they were duped, and they are now mad that they were duped. And it's like, y'all made it seem like you understood and you were going to sign off for the things. And now what the fuck, And so, and that's the thing. Actors, we don't want to strike. We want to work. Like, and it's a bad example, but I say, like, I need a hit of acting. I want to be on set. It's a drug and I need it. You know what I mean? And one of my friends was like, don't say that. Just say that it like feeds your soul or something. But like it's something that
you know what, Chelsea? You say exactly how you just fucking said it.
And it's like,
you know, it's a juice, man. It's a high.
That is where we thrive at an artist. And I think writers or directors can say the same thing. Like in the writer's room, when you're developing and all that, that feeds our soul. We don't want to do anything that takes away from that. If you ask any actor, would you prefer to work every day? And they'd say, fuck yes. Like we, oh my God, like my goal is to be working on a show and be working 10 months out of the year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whether it's a show or then a movie or whatever.
And going back to your take, this is the first. I mean, previous always been a deal. I've always heard like, oh yeah, okay, they just broke that deal. They just made the deal. Boom. Okay, you guys keep on working.
Yeah, they didn't
Very
really do
interesting,
anything
guys.
during the extension. Actually, what happened was they just used it to have 2 weeks to ramp up promotion for the rest of the summer.
Exactly.
You know, for the rest of the movies. Now they're like, okay, that's done. We're going on vacation, and we'll talk to you guys in fall. I think they used the 2 weeks to get everything done they needed to do and stockpile it. And then, you know, when a day or two before the deadline's up, they're like, oh, by the way, no. You know, and that was
no, this was all strategic. It was the same thing in 2007, 2008. In 2008, we didn't understand it. It's like, you know, we look back and we connect the dots backwards, right? You know, it's what Steve Jobs said. You can't connect the dots forward. Looking back, I now understand that strike. I participated in 2007, 2008, and looking back, it was about getting rid of overall deals. Two things. It was about getting rid of overall deals, which happened to people I knew, right? Also, it was about changing the business so that movie screenwriters used to have, prior to 2008, movie screenwriters would have, it was normal to get the multiple guaranteed steps. You write a draft, then you get a rewrite, then you get a polish guaranteed. You normally got about 3 steps, which is a lot more money, right? And after that, they used the excuse of the strike so that this norm has now become 1 step and you're out. 1 step and you're replaced by somebody else. And that has severely impacted all my movie writer friends. That's been the norm since the 2008 strike. So we have to understand these companies, they're not idiots. They didn't become billion-dollar corporations. I used to be a lawyer. They have top-notch lawyers inside who advise them. They have strategists. These people can't create a script from scratch or perform in a way that moves human beings. They can't do that. But what they can do is they can machinate numbers. They can do that. They frankly do that better than artists, right? And they've been planning this for a while.
They've been planning it for a while. Actors started feeling this last year. Last October is when auditions started getting smaller and things were like, there was no pilot season this year. Like pilot season is at the beginning of the year, like February, March. You'll be getting 5, 6 series regulars auditions in a week and you got to go. This year, I think they had 15 pilots when normally the average is 50. So from 50 to 15, the number of pilots.
Big difference.
So this has been in effect and set up. Like I know they were having writers' rooms and mini rooms at the beginning of the year instead of pilot season. So things could be filmed through the summer that were already written. So like they knew what was happening. They were set up for this. And that's why it's not surprising that some streaming executives said, oh yeah, we're ready for this to last 6 months. We're not worried, because they were prepared. The thing that they weren't prepared for is SAG striking. They knew the writers were going to strike. They didn't expect us to strike. Correct. And there are people that I know that were on set, on location, that still have a couple weeks left to shoot, and now they can't go to work. And now it's on pause until this is settled. So it's like, now that you have these projects that maybe you could have released in 6 months, now you don't. And it is something that they truly did not expect. And that's why, Kamran, you're saying, like, I really hope this SAG joining the strike and also fighting for the things that they're fighting for really moves it. And that's why I told friends, either this is going to end in a month or it's going to last until the end of the year. Like, there's no wiggle room. Like, either this is going to be something that, okay, shit, we need to figure this out. Or if not, this was always their plan. It was always to strike for 6 months, and that's what they're going to go for.
Amazing.
I have breaking news. Amazing. I have breaking news of something that I care about. Many of the audience doesn't care about, and they will care about because they deserve to care about it, right? So the breaking news is this.
Breaking news.
I just got a message that the show that none of you watched, that's an incredible show, Ms. Marvel on Disney Plus.
Wait a minute.
That's not breaking news. I heard about that yesterday.
Well, okay, now I heard about it today. It's being released on ABC.
Bro, come on. I watched the show.
Well,
okay, what's the news?
Stuff. I got a Patreon to run. I got stuff to do. I'm writing a spec.
What's the news?
So Ms. Marvel is being re-released onto broadcast on ABC this summer. And for those of you that did not watch it, it is, for all of you grumbling about it, it is not a woke show. It is and those people, it's not made for me. It's made for Pakistani women. No, it's made for you. It's the most family-friendly show on Disney Plus. Period. I watched it with my mom every single episode. It's the first time I've done that since we were kids, where we had a family watching night when it came out, and it's heart-moving, it's emotional, it's funny, and every one of you that heard from morons on YouTube, well, I heard from my buddy, it's woke, leftist propaganda, right? Bunch of brown people. You're wrong. Go watch this show on ABC, and you'll have the time of your life, and you'll feel like, why don't they make shows like this anymore?
Okay.
I want to say
a couple things. All right. Everyone go ahead. Chelsea and then Tom.
I haven't
Go
watched
ahead.
that show because I haven't been watching any of the shows that are set for the Marvel universe. So I haven't seen She-Hulk, I haven't seen Loki, I haven't seen any of those. So I know now because I saw the trailer for the new Mrs. Marvels or Mr. Marvels or something about all of them together. And so I'm like, fuck, this is I feel like I need to go back to watch it to get this, and there's too much. So it's also something when we talk about oversaturation. You used to have this IP for Marvel, which was movies, and now you're branching off to all these different fucking shows, and it's too much to watch. There's not enough hours in the day, and I watch a lot of fucking TV. But
yeah, she does.
The only thing that I watched was WandaVision. I haven't seen Miss Marvel. I haven't seen Loki. Never saw She-Hulk, and I know there's probably 2 or 3 more that I'm forgetting.
Well, I can't vouch for any of those. Those weren't that good. Ms. Marvel was good. I see people grumbling in the chat. It is a damn good show. Everyone who I've said, go watch the show.
All right. Cameron, first of all, that's not breaking news. I heard about it yesterday.
I didn't hear about it.
I love you, man. But I love Miss Marvel. It was a really good show. And I talked about it on the channel here, and I'm a 50-something, Chicano. So no, you don't have to be a Pakistani girl like it. But I'm glad that it's gonna be seen on it.
And this means that the actors and writers and directors be getting prime time network residuals.
Ooh,
that's gonna be, they weren't getting crap off
breaking,
of Disney.
though.
This is
Did you hear about this? That
Yes.
Imani, was that her name?
Iman Vellani, yes.
Iman is writing the comic book.
Good, she can fix it.
Yep.
The comic book is not
She's
that
doing
good.
was it a limited series? So how Clobbering or 32 flavors. If you guys are in the chat, help me out. I think she's co-writing a limited series. But Petey York, that kind of why is Obi-Wan the best Disney Wars product?
He's teasing me because I did like Obi-Wan, and I'm not going to get into that here. I mean, that's for another conversation. I liked Obi-Wan.
You know what? Me and Tom, that's the last thing we did a weekly review on the show.
Yeah, I like it.
Right. I got a lot of crap.
Not everything automatically sucks and breaks canon just because you're angry all the time. Just enjoy something, for God's sake.
Yeah, no, and I genuinely do like the Star Wars world, but I have not watched Boba Fett. I need to watch the second season of Mandalorian, and I want to watch the new Ahsoka Tano with Rosario Dawson. So I know I need to watch that in order to all the worlds to be collided. But I understand that they're just trying to make money, but it is so hard to try to keep up with shit right now. There's just so much. And I watch a lot.
All right, guys. What's the end game here? Talk to me. In regards to yes, what is the ultimate goal with these strikes for you guys? Who wants to start off first?
Well, again, WGA has released their proposal and what the studios wrote back. SAG hasn't done that. That is something I'm very curious about because there are issues with SAG, the health insurance as well, and pensions and self-tapes and things like that. So I want to know all that. But at the end of the day, it's a fair deal that we make some of the money that we are putting our blood, sweat, and tears into making these people billions and billions of dollars. Now, I'm not saying, oh my God, I deserve $1 million for every project that I do. No, I don't deserve that. But our rates need to keep up with the world and inflation. And we don't need to be scanned and used forever. We need to get paid every time. That's something I think the writers mentioned about, like, if you're going to use my writing sample to teach AI, then you need to also pay me for that. And like, that's something that I think was really, I heard that somewhere. But a fair deal, understanding that we need these increases in pay to survive, not to live lavish lifestyles and have yachts and this and that. You're thinking about the 1% of actors like Streeps and the Will Smiths and the Tom Cruise. But 87% of the union cannot have health insurance. Like, that means that they're not making $26,000 a year. And that is an incredibly crazy number. And we need to be able to take care of ourselves. We need to be able to, like, again, I truly believe that I just got fucking dehydrated and heat exhaustion because I'm trying to do so much because I've never been in this position. Now I need to, like, take a breath and figure out, okay, I got to plan accordingly. And maybe I can't go to my friend's birthday dinner. You know what I mean? But I'm a big birthday girl. So, like, I'm trying to do everything. But
yeah, you missed our party because you had to work, because you were working.
I was working. Yeah. And that's the day that I got heat stroke on Saturday.
You should have went to the party, fool. But yeah, you know, that's the thing that
at the end of the day, it's a fair deal. That's what we want. We don't want all of the money in the world. We want a fair deal. We want to be paid what we were paid 5 years ago, not less. And we are getting paid less. And that's where I know, you know, Cameron, you talked about mini rooms, and it's like people are becoming gig workers instead of a career. And you used to be able to be a writer and you would be an assistant and you would level up and level up and level up and level up, be on set while they were filming your episode and learn these things. And that path has disappeared. And so we don't want it to go backwards, and somehow we lost that. We're just saying, treat us and keep these things that were in place that helped us grow as artists and get to a higher position, and also which leads to higher pay normally. And that pipeline has been taken away. And even for actors, like you talked about, movie stars going to TV has also taken a lot away from the working actor. Having celebrities in every fucking commercial. I think in the Super Bowl, 90% of the commercials were with A-list actors and not regular talent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it takes a lot out of us.
Let me add to that. I've said it a couple times here and on some streams. It's very important for people to understand that you work so hard for so many years to get to that status of a guest star, and you got a quote, and you're going up against other top-notch actors. And then you start going up against movie stars, because in the reality is that role was already given to them. They just want to see who else, just in case emergency. But they have the audition. Oh no, that role went to Meryl Streep, or that role went to, I'm using her as an example, but
it's to meet a quota.
That has been happening to Romy the last couple of years, unfortunately. And but that's just part of this unfair business at times.
But that links into what Chelsea just said.
Yep.
If we continue down this road, this is true for actors, it's true for writers. If we continue down this road, the only people that will be left making stuff in not even 5 years, in 2 years, right, will be rich guys, fat cats, people whose grandfather entered this business and it's multi-generational, right? And guess what? Those people are disconnected from the audience. We're talking generational wealth here, right? Okay. Speaking from writers, all the writers that everybody on YouTube's been grumbling about, screwed up Star Wars. Screwed up Star Trek. Guess what? They're all part of the rich club. They don't care about you. And that's all that you're going to have left. I need residuals to stay in this game. Chelsea needs residuals to stay in this game. When we get work, we need enough to actually make our time for that period, right? Otherwise, I have a law degree and an MBA. I got other things I can do with my life, right? Chelsea is a brilliant woman. She can find other things to do with her life. They do this. All you're going to have left are the rich guys that all you dudes hate. And you're going to get their smug, politicking, limousine Marxist bull crap, because that's what they are. They're not real people like us.
Knonkle, ultimate goal.
ultimate goal is, to quote Jeff Goldblum, just because we can do something, I don't necessarily think we should do something. The technology has accelerated to the point with streaming. There is no model that we have as artists to be remunerated for the way streaming works. With AI, there literally wasn't an AI issue 5 years ago. The idea that, AI can do a first draft and you hire a couple of writers to touch it up has never in human history been an issue. AI doesn't enjoy when it's reading you your book on tape the way an actor does, experiencing the book and performing it and feeling something while they're doing it. AI doesn't think of an idea and go, oh, I can't wait to show people this. It is a predictive text machine. It is a copy machine. And we need new rules for engagement and business that reflect all of these fundamental changes. And it's changing so exponentially that if we don't stop it now, it will literally be too late. And it's not just artists, it's not just us, it's everyone's job. It's everyone's relationship to technology. It's not the same world as it was 5 years ago. And if we don't address it, we're in deep trouble. That's it.
Sorry. Because start talking, I'm like muted and I don't have my camera on. Man, this is fantastic. Any last thoughts? Because I think the super chats that I have for now, like more Sound of Freedom, stuff like that. Yeah. I can let you guys go. Anyone wants to stay on, that's cool.
I think the biggest thing is if you can show up and support in some way, whether that's reposting, hashtagging, showing up at the picket line, donating money to the entertainment fund, which is helping writers and actors that genuinely don't have money for rent next month pay their bills. That's amazing things, especially right now because we cannot promote our projects. Or even, again, I don't have a project coming up, but I can't promote projects that I want to support and that I appreciate and that have Latinos. So like make sure as the audience, you are promoting, that you are talking about projects that you're excited about, sharing with your friends, posting about it, and also just understanding and trying to get more research into what's happening, because the more you have knowledge, I think the more it helps.
I'm actually putting I'm putting into the chat right now a link to the Entertainment Community Fund. It used to be called the Actors Fund, but it is actually for everyone in this industry. I know friends of mine who just got very generous grants, writers who were about to not be able to pay their rent, right? Got very generous grants with no strings attached from the ECF, right? I plan to give them money because I was blown away to see how, because even my own guild, they'll lend you, there's a strike fund, but you got to pay it back in 6 weeks with this much interest. Let's get going. I mean, there's a lot of restrictions. The Entertainment Community Fund is incredibly generous. You can support it. I'm supporting it. And it's really helping actors and writers right now because they're incredibly generous. I mean, they do their due diligence. They go through all your financials to see if you need the money. And if you need the money, they'll write you the check, right? And that's what people—
Where is that link at? I don't see it in the chat.
I'm putting it— I'm sorry, I was talking. I'm going to hit the return right now.
Yeah, hit the return while you're talking, then I can put it up while you're talking.
Going in right now. It should, if you see it, go into the chat. The ECF, it is the best form of financial support. I mean, if you can give money directly to a fellow artist who's struggling, help them, right? But if you want to just help the industry, this is actually a real thing that's people are paying their rent from right now. So please donate to it.
And again, remember, donating $1, donating $5, everything helps. And if you get 100 friends to donate $100, or $1, it adds up to $100. You know what I mean? So maybe you also work at a corporation that maybe they could donate more, whatever it may be, but everything helps. And it's impactful. So again, even if you're struggling and you're like, damn, I want to help, but I can't do much, just promoting it to other friends, because maybe one of your friends or family is in a better position that can donate. So everything is helpful.
We also have everyone's personal links in the chat as far as following or going to support. That's where you can reach Knonkle, support him.
Thank you. Yeah. You can't get unemployment because of a strike. You're not eligible for unemployment. So the public doesn't realize that sometimes.
Yeah. Say what?
Correct. You are not.
The work is still there technically, so you cannot apply.
Right.
Like my daytime job is doing this, so I can't get unemployment. I just can't. I can't work. Like literally, I had 4 projects go away. One was going to start Friday. I've lost all the jobs. I have no idea if there's going to be another check, and I don't have another job, so
didn't know
I
that,
can't get
brother.
unemployment. Yeah.
And on top
I'm
of that,
done.
he has this opportunity. That doesn't mean that that's going to be there at the end of the strike.
Sure.
Right.
That
Oh,
can
it's
completely
over.
go away.
Yeah. No, they're gone. It's gone. It's not. It's
gone.
The unique thing about acting is it's a job where you can't go, I'm sick today, let's do it tomorrow. It's done. It's gone. Or if they cancel it, you have no control over it. So the acting aspect of what I do and the writing aspect, and frankly, the directing went away too. Even if we have a contract, there's no one to direct and there's no script. So when you're out, you're all out.
Before we end this, can you talk a little bit about the directors? Because I haven't heard much, and people, it was a good deal. Some people were saying it wasn't a good deal, but that is, I'd be super curious because I saw a meme yesterday that's like, oh, directors, signed this deal so they could get back to work. But who are y'all directing? Traffic? Like, it was really funny. But so I'm curious as someone that's a part of it, and I'm assuming you voted and things like that.
Oh, absolutely. It was averted with a vote, but it's fundamentally important to mention this. The directors didn't ask for the same thing as actors and writers. For example, AI is not going to be able to direct a movie. It's not an image-based sort of job, and it's not a generative job like a script. So it really doesn't cross with what SAG or the WGA is looking for. What the Directors Guild was simply asking for was more in the area of residuals and the more IP, participation with it. They came back with something that was fairly amenable, but didn't address AI, didn't address some of the issues that actors have been looking for. So without those other things on the table, I think they got there closer a lot faster. But the interesting issue is, though they're ratifying the contract, they knew they were going to sit on this anyway because the other guilds were going out. So in support of it, really nothing is happening. But what they asked for, and they didn't communicate it very well, what they asked for is just fundamentally different than what writers and actors are looking for. So that doomsday scenario, as nice as it would have been for them to also strike, it's kind of a pocket strike because there's nothing to direct. They're not directing something behind the actor's back.
Yeah.
At best, they might be able to direct some reality shows. Many reality shows have had SAG-AFTRA members, so we can't do that. I think Vanderpump Rules, the biggest one right now, they're all, even though they're playing themselves allegedly, they're all SAG-AFTRA. I don't think that show's going to continue, but that's about it. And the system ain't going to be able to survive. Like the system couldn't survive on 7 days a week. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? System ain't going to be able to survive on.
It's not going to happen, and directors know that.
Right?
Yeah,
Cameron,
we know that.
Still didn't get the link, Cameron. If you can put it in the private chat.
I put it in the chat. People are responding to it. It's
No. He's saying he did it on the public chat on YouTube.
No, I know, but I want to get it in my private chat.
All right, I'll put it in right now.
Repost it.
I put it right there right there. It's in the private.
Thank you.
But at the end of the day, again, even though we don't have new stuff coming, the fact that they're having shows from streaming going to network does benefit us at the end of the day.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
Pay you.
Because now you got to pay the network residuals. So they're trying to figure out how they can stay afloat. And I don't know what happened.
Water.
But at least that still means, because that's one of the things, like I personally was trying to get people to cancel Netflix and cancel streamers. And that was something that I was like, oh, let's do this. Then I talked to some people at WGA higher up and SAG, and pretty much they said, we don't want to call for that because if it's not effective, it's going to look bad. Right. And then on top of that, even if you get 1 million people to cancel, that's only $15 million. And that's nothing to these people when they're making billions and billions of dollars. It's like, oh, I hit my knee. You know what I mean? Not like, oh, I chopped off a leg. And that's something where recently a couple people were talking about it now, and the people are canceling. And it's like, I feel that kind of backfires at the end of the day now, because now we're not getting the numbers on streaming to get any residuals. So even that $30 that was coming in, that's still something that can still, give me some groceries. So I just want to say that out loud. I am not for canceling streamers and things like that. It's that it's not going to be an effective tool, which I see now, which again, when this strike first started, I was all about it. And I was texting 200 or 300 people on my phone trying to get something going. And then when I saw the other sides of it, and it's like, oh, wow, that really doesn't make a difference. And like, ooh, okay, shit, you know? And then also, again, at the end of the day, people do look at us and what we do as entertainment as mental health help, you know what I mean, to decompress, to feel better or whatever. So I don't want to take that away from people either.
Yeah, people and so the way to do it is, I agree, canceling the streamers is shooting at the moon. Donate to places like this. We also had a link for SAG, has a direct link, and so I can attest from friends of mine who've just gotten and been able to pay their rent this month because of entertainmentcommunity.org. Writers who actually were going to be, I got to leave the union, I can't pay my rent. This got them through another month. This kind of fund will allow us to face these guys and hopefully resolve this. Nobody wants this thing to go on. Let's get back to business. I'm personally not demanding that the CEOs lower their, Zaslav should cut off 20 million from salary. I'm not demanding that. There's enough in the pie for all of us to get what we need. All right, without having to change the world. And we're not asking to change the world. Maybe one or two idiots in the WJ want to, but the system isn't asking for that. The system of writers and actors isn't asking for that. Let's resolve this and get back to work.
So you guys got the links individually and groups as far as if you guys want to donate a few bucks, which I am totally 100% slant approve. Please check them out, do your research, and support. Individually, our people on the panel and these groups. We do have this is an interesting question, and I know the Richard supports you, Cameron. Have you seen how several years of non-projects have delayed the industry? How is this different than COVID?
It's worse than COVID. COVID, there were protocols, so some people felt the protocols were a little extreme, but they got it done. We were able to make some stuff, right? We're able to make decent stuff even during the time. You can't make anything now. It's done. Even the writers, when it was just us, you could still make stuff. They have all of our scripts. They had the actors and they had the directors. You could still be filming. Our friend Ryan Murphy was off filming American Horror Story. Didn't care. He's a Writers Guild member. He couldn't care less, right? He was off doing that thing, right? Now he can't do that because his actors are off.
Right.
Sure.
And it's different than COVID in that hopefully the end game for all of us is that because this stopped, a positive thing will happen at the end of it, that we will get our demands, basically we'll get more fair pay. The Directors Guild did kick open one important negotiating point I forgot, which is they got an agreement that confirms AI is not a person and generative AI cannot replace the duties of a person.
Great.
And that's an important new distinction that had never been said before. So
yeah, and that helps the writers. It doesn't help the actors. The actors are still being screwed. I felt, personally, I'll be honest with you, when I saw the language that we gotten down the wire of the Writers Guild, as a lawyer, I was like, yeah, that language will cover us. But members of my guild leadership didn't agree with that. But when the director's language came, I was like, that language definitely covers us and the directors, doesn't cover the actors.
Doesn't cover the actors. Yeah, that's absolutely right.
Okay, lady and gentlemen, I'm going to let you guys go. This has been fantastic. Why don't we reconvene when this over?
Yeah,
hopefully,
God willing, soon. God willing, soon. I'm going to leave with one last anecdote.
Very soon.
I'm going to leave with an anecdote.
Let's bring you up.
Okay. I just want to leave with an anecdote, very quick anecdote that was said just before the SAG strike, which I hope is true. Right? Which is multiple friends of mine who had deals at Netflix. Suddenly, about a week before SAG struck, were saying we're getting multiple different friends. We're getting messages that, hey, Ted Sarandos, the big boss at Netflix, has been telling people, don't worry about it. It's going to be over by August 15th. We'll figure it out by the writers by August 15th. And Netflix is one of the big holdouts, right? So if that was the alleged story, now with our friends at SAG-AFTRA courageously doing what nobody expected and getting on that picket line, maybe it'll be faster. I choose to believe, for my own sanity, this ain't going to the end of the year, which Chelsea's right. That's one possibility. But I think the catalyst of the actors courageously fighting for their rights may bring us to a resolution much faster than people are realizing. That's what I hope and believe.
I hope so. I hope you're right.
Yes.
Well, thank you guys so much.
It was a pleasure. Thank you all. Yeah.
Thank you. Nice connecting with you, Cameron. We'll be talking.
We'll be talking. We got emails.
Okay.
God bless you, Tom. We'll talk soon.
Cameron, pleasure. Thank you, sir. Chelsea.
Inshallah.
Bye, Tom,
We'll
Cameron.
see you guys later.
God bless. Peace.
Chelsea,
Paulie.
feel better. Adios. Adios,
Thank
Tom.
you. Yeah.
Wow. 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 What a conversation. What a dialogue was had. All of that. What do you guys think right now? I'm going to read some of these super chats I've been holding on to. Still well over 100 people hanging out with us. Before you leave, I don't want you to leave, but if you have to, make sure that you smash the like and you are subscribed to the channel. Fantastic. Let's go over some of these super chats. WDW Pro, my brother, for $4. Notice The Chosen was given a pass for filming. Why? I think you know why, brother. I think you know why. The Great Mexican Iron Man for $4.99. Member of the channel. With all these new diversity rules for the Oscar, my question will be: Sound of Freedom will be nominated for many Oscars this coming year? Question mark. It will. I said this already. I think I tweeted it out. This is my prediction. Sound of Freedom will not be nominated for a single Academy Award. Olaf for €6. Remember the channel. Disney had it on the shelf for years, right? Yes, 5 years. Makes you think they didn't want people to raise awareness of this CT or give it too much attention. Well, it was made by Fox, right? It was produced and made Fox Columbia 5 years ago, then shelved, and then Disney bought Fox. Definitely not for Sound of Freedom, but for Avatar. That was the main thing they bought it for. So they probably saw this and kind of like was seeing some of the news that was getting out. They're like, yeah, we're going to shelve this one. Oh, you want to buy it back? Sure, go ahead. And then Eduardo Verástegui got the money and bought it back. And then he got the distribution rights with Angel Studios. And here we are. And we're also on PayPal. Ari Bavel sent us $10 supporting the Latino slant. Thank you. Thank you so much. We love that. We love it all. I mean, you guys are fantastic. Mexican Iron Man, Obi-Wan sucked. So Latino slant is fired. Come on in here, Mike. You have the link. And do what I do. I will go take I will go away. You do it. Come on, get on here right now. Right now, get on here. If you think it's so easy and you book the guests, book the artists, but you make it all happen. Oh, wait a minute. Don't you do that for like you do a lot. Script Doctor, she's co-writing, but hopefully it's not a stunt job. Talking about Iman. Cool. It's a limited series, so she is co-writing. Thank you, 32 Flavors. Appreciate you. There's Tom Konkle's link if you want to check it out. The Rogue Attraction. What do you think of SAG asking content creators not to cover content during the strike? I don't think it's reasonable, and I'm not going to stop covering. I'm going to go see Oppenheimer tonight. Early reaction. I'll be dropping that later tonight. Yeah, I mean, I get it, but it's not going to happen. Sorry, SAG. Oh, that's some more support. Latino Slant is amazing and officially rehired. Hey, I got the job back. All right. Silly. Okay, we got a couple of... if you're watching this on the replay, make sure you comment and smash the like. We have a couple of... We pretty much got through everything. Let's bring in Fletcher. And that was pretty epic, dude.
Yeah. We had an awesome crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks everybody for the super chats. Thank you for all the people that subscribes, and thanks Shelly Lee for the 10 extra.
Where's my raise, Mexican Iron Man? Oh, that's what I didn't put up. That's what I didn't put up. Hold on.
Yeah. Thanks, Shelly Lee.
We'll get back to this. I want to raise Mexican Iron Man. What the heck? What the heck? But before we do that, the great Shelly Lee, mi hermana, gifted memberships, 10 memberships to the slant.
Right. She also did the member chat, saying that we
didn't
had
see that.
so many people new watching, and there was no new members, and then she's like, boom, I'm gonna make
Oh,
it
I love
happen.
it. I think, yeah,
Yeah.
I don't get to see those, so you're gonna have to grab the memberships as those become more frequent. That's cool. And let's play some fun. Let's play this nice video just for Shelly Lee and the new members. All right. Very cool. Very cool. What else were you gonna say?
Oh yeah, I was gonna say thank you also because we also had a bunch of new subscribers today. So
Got a
thank you,
lot.
and
We
also
got a lot.
if you're not subscribed, double check. Sometimes YouTube does funny things, so
Yeah.
it'd be good if you just double check, make sure you are subscribed, and if you are,
We're
hit,
almost to 6,100. So
yeah,
that's cool. So that's cool.
yeah.
But
When we but,
we
but
gotta hit
road
that
to
10K.
10K,
We gotta hit that
10K,
10K, guys. Come
yeah.
on. Stop
Let's
messing
go.
around. We bring you. Look at what we bring you.
I
No one
mean,
else is doing
nobody's
this.
doing this, right?
Bunch of clowns. Those other channels. Clowns that I love. Clowns that I love. Payasos, cabrones. Okay, we got a little pop culture potpourri. And then we'll close it out. We got to close it out with a little fun. With a little fun, right? Right, my man.
Right.
Right, my man. And I will say this: the Firme Jaina will return next week. We need some
Ooh,
chicks up in here,
you
man.
heard it here first.
I think we should have
Breaking news,
Chelsea
actual
Rendon.
breaking news.
This is the real breaking. Forget all that WD Pro breaking news. I don't. Yeah, that is okay. Whatever. The real breaking news is Firme Jaina is returning next week. Show.
That's what inquiring minds want to know.
Payasos. Okay, well, here we go. Here we go. Are you ready?
Ready.
Christopher Nolan on Barbieheimer. This is what you sent me, right?
No, I didn't send you this one.
Oh, oops.
Did I?
All right. Well, summer is a healthy marketplace, always
Yeah.
crowded, and we have been doing this for some time. I think for those who care about movies, we have been really waiting to have a crowded market. So I think he's welcoming the Barbenheimer weekend.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, a lot of people who are going to watch Barbie might not watch Oppenheimer, and vice versa. But it's good to have some people in the movie theaters. Although I think it already started with Sound of Freedom. People already going to movies.
Well, what's up with this photo though? Look, that's like the worst Margot Robbie shot. I don't like that.
Yeah, I think that's an unfortunate. Maybe that's because they wanted to go to Dark Barbie or something.
Yeah, that was a little weird, dude. That was a little wild. I think she's a good looking lady, and I don't like this photo here. But okay, there you go. I'm going to Oppenheimer tonight. Early
and you're gonna
review.
have a reaction.
Early reaction. I can't do a review for a few days. Okay, but you're gonna get the reaction. I'm actually now excited for it. We've been putting together some great days. Life is wonderful. I'm totally serious with you guys. You got to count your blessings. It's a blessing to be on this show with you guys. It's a blessing to go see a movie and react, give my 2 cents, and you guys, check it out. It's all a blessing. It's all a blessing, and you get to talk to Kamran Pasha and Chelsea Rendon and Tom Konkle. I mean, come on now. Come on. So thank you. Thank you. 85 still with us, talking to two bozos and Fletcher. Okay, what's next? This is cool.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen this before?
Yeah, I've seen that.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to. I'm gonna do each line as the character.
All right.
All right, and then you know, do you want to do one? Is there one you want to do?
I don't know. I mean, you can throw one at me if you want, but
Okay, I'll probably. You
I
know
think you
what?
do better.
All right, you do
things than I-
Cobra.
Okay.
Let me do the first Arnold here. Let me do the first Arnold here. All right. Uh, I eat the green berets for breakfast. That's from Commando. All right, and then of course the coveted Scarface, Tony Montana. Say hello to my little friend.
That was a good one.
All right. Okay, your turn, Cobra.
You're the disease, and I'm the cure.
I don't know, man. Hey, audience, how was that? How was Fletcher's Cobra? I think you saw the wrong movie, dude.
Well, this is the thing. I saw it in Spanish. You know? So to me, it's like, you know, tú eres la enfermedad y yo soy la cura. So and it's voiced, and it's actually voiced by the same guy.
Wait, do it again in Spanish. That was great. Go ahead.
Tú eres la enfermedad y yo soy la cura.
Beautiful. I love it.
It's actually probably the same guy who does like Fred Flintstone or something.
He does all the
you
Spanish
know, he does all the things.
Yeah. Okay. Were you a RoboCop fan?
Oh, I love RoboCop.
Okay, do the RoboCop here for me.
Oh, in Spanish?
Well, no. Well,
all right. Dead or alive, you're coming with me.
I always like that one RoboCop line. Thank you for your cooperation.
Thank you
Good
for
night.
your cooperation. Yeah. It has so many cool scenes, you know?
It does. Fred Flintstone.
Pretty much, yeah. It was disheartening because everybody seemed like to have the same voice.
Yeah.
You know, it's like they hire like 5 actors.
Okay, I'm gonna do the middle. I'm doing the middle one. It's Jesse the Body Ventura in Predator, and he says, "I ain't got time to bleed." He spits out his chew.
Yeah.
He's like, because someone was like, "Hey man, you're bleeding. You got shot. You're bleeding." I ain't got time to bleed.
Got time to bleed.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Johnny Gonzalez. I got Tom K. Un café con leche. Thank you for the member chat. What does that mean?
I guess he got Tom K. He probably donated Tom K's café con leche. So
he got Tom Konkle some money. Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Great.
I think that's what he's saying. And the Mexican Iron Man has just fired me.
You know what? Listen.
It's a lot of firings going on.
Listen, Mike. He's fired for felony level bad impression.
It's a felony.
What is it? All I know is Romy is cooking something and it smells like heaven. Woo! I'm getting hungry, dog. Okay, here we go. We got what was his character's name in Die Hard? John
McClane.
John McClane in Die Hard.
Right.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. Nice.
I know it's a little like cholito kind of yippee.
Was it
a little too little John McClane, too much ECE,
too much East LA, not enough New York. Yeah, all right. Hey, all right. Okay, you want to try this Lethal Weapon?
All right. Let's see. I'm too old for this bleep.
Did you say bleep? You don't curse, huh?
Yeah, we don't. Yeah, I don't curse.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Sorry about that, guys.
No, it's all right. It's all right. It's all right. This is kind of the most random one out of all of them. It's a funny one. It's more comedy. All right. Okay, I'm gonna do Rambo. I'll give you a wall you won't believe.
That wasn't that bad, actually.
Yeah. Well, the Rambo line is that I'm used to is I can't remember. I'm too old for this shish kebab. Nice, Caspiria. It's good to see you.
Yes,
And it's
nice.
good to see Stump Brat too, 777 Smith. Good to see you. Hopefully you caught the conversation with those guys were amazing, enlightening. And of course
Yeah.
Chelsea Rendon, man. I know fools would just fall in love with her as she was talking and complaining
Yeah,
about
and a lot of people, kind of, because most people just get a lot of stuff from the news, and depends what news that you're slanting through.
yeah.
And
Mhm.
a lot of people don't see that
No.
field are kind of getting a complete different experience.
I know, man. Well, yeah. I mean, again, I just see payasos complaining, and I'm like, you have no idea how this business works, and you're shitting on these people, and I don't like that. So I'm like, we got to get some people in the business that are striking. Let's get the money, and they all didn't agree with each other, which was great.
Yeah, and
Which
that's
is great too.
you see different
Mhm.
ideas and different, and plus you got different side. Tom is like he was like the all around because he writes, he acts, and he also directs. You got Karma,
Mhm.
he writes, and Chelsea, she's an actor. So it's
All
like
right, let's
you got
finish it
all
up.
sides.
Let's
All
finish
right,
it up.
classic.
We'll let you do it. Do the last one.
I'll be back. Well, actually, like I said, for me, it's voy a regresar.
Nice. Nice. Do it one more time in
Or
Spanish.
even in it's like voy a volver.
Voy a volver. Nice. I like regresar.
Yeah.
That sounds cooler.
It
Oh
depends
no.
who you got the bootleg from. Oh dang! There's no
That's
winning today,
cold-blooded,
man.
Mexican.
There's no. Hey, I didn't get hired for impersonations.
That's true. That's
This
true.
is out of
You
my
know
pay
what?
grade. I'm gonna pick it.
Mexican's been like, this is for you, Mexican. Every time I see this video, I think of you. Payaso.
Puro tío en la barbacoa.
Puro tío. Okay, I think we have do we have another? Yeah, we have another meme here.
We have another one.
Oh, yeah. Part of the pop culture potpourri is us.
Yeah,
Cody.
Leo Cody.
Oh, wait a minute. This is the old one. He sent me a new one that actually spelled the Slantinos right. Let me get that. Sorry about that. He's like, oops. Let me find that, Leo. Happens all the time. Anyways, he put it here. Let me play the video real quick. He did the video for us. This was really cool. Leo Cody, Paulie rap. Here we go.
Paulie and his Latinos, they're the heroes of the right. Fitting through but you open up my right. They dissect the issues, bringing light to the dark. Like surgeons with precision, they hit the target, leave a mark.
I mean, that ending kind of scared the shit out of me, but I was like,
it's like, whoa, what's going on?
Blowing up beaches?
Slant's officially a terrorist organization.
Yeah, I didn't get that last part. Leo, like, Slant hates the beach.
Slants love the beach.
Yeah.
So let's blow up some beaches.
But here is the La Familia, Los Lantinos. Who are these people? I know that's me in the middle. Who's this chick?
So I think is that the girl that was doing the girl Sorrow?
It is. It's Catherine Zeta-Jones. Okay.
And
it's randoms. It's randoms.
Yeah, because it's probably like AI. Is it AI, Cody? I think
you should
part
put
of
Chelsea.
it
Put Chelsea Rendon there.
I think the luchador is Rey Mysterio. I think.
There's no Romy in this. Hold on. There's no Romy right now. Hold on. Rey Mysterio. And then los Latinos, like apparently I take it off, right? And just ready to rumble. Ready to rumble.
Ready to rock it.
Okay.
You know what we should do? We should get like little like those luchador figures. You know, they all have like the same style. And do like the and the loteria set.
Okay. Well, there you have it, man. Thank you to Leo Cody. That's pretty badass. It's our little pop culture potpourri. But Nick, okay, so let's talk about where's that this week coming up, and let's talk about some announcements here. So we're going to, and thanks again, Leo. I'm gonna go watch Oppenheimer tonight.
Right, and you're gonna do out of the theater reaction.
We're gonna do out of the theater reaction. I can't put up a review up until Wednesday morning, and so you have those videos to look forward to. We are also going to do a membership movie night soon. We picked out the movie, right? Isn't it crime?
Yeah, I think it was Crime Times.
Time something?
Time Crimes, yeah.
Time Crimes.
Time Crimes, yeah.
Okay. All right, Time Crimes. So we got like 100 members now. So we should have a really good movie night. We'll set it up in the next couple of weeks. What else? What else am I missing, Fletcher?
So you talked about Kamran Pasha, the strike. You were going to show the La Familia video. I think that's what you showed.
That was it.
Yeah, that was it.
That was it. Yeah, that was a scary ass blowing the beach up shit.
Yeah. Oh,
Time Crimes.
Chow, Time Crimes. Yeah.
Spanish.
It's a movie by Nacho Vigalondo, I think his name is, and it's it's very well made. It's one of those mind twisters.
So our movie nights tend to have it's got like, you know, like maybe it's from a different Latin American country or a US Latino movie. You know, something that you would never heard of, or maybe you have, but you know, we've watched everything from Dusk Till Dawn, Desperado, Cantinflas, some fun movies. So we're gonna watch Time Crimes. Okay, guys, but you have to be a member to hang out. We're gonna get the Zoom. We get the Zoom channel going, and that's it. Yeah, we covered Sound of Freedom. We've covered a lot. Another fantastic talk. Okay, I'm working on it, guys. I think we're gonna have Richard Montañez, the creator of Flaming Hot Cheetos, on next week.
Oh, that's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. Okay, so that's my next big guest. Keely Chow sends a member chat. I can't wait for your review of Oppenheimer. Thank you, Keely. I can't wait to hear your comments on it, because I'm actually excited to see it, Fletcher.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are excited to see it.
I'm actually excited to see it.
It's gotten a lot of hype on it, so I think it's gonna be one of those that a lot of people are just waiting to chomp at the bit at it.
Yeah, and let's bring up the closing credits, where we shout out the members in the closing credits. But what I wanted, let me get that, because I often try to do two things at once, and I kind of lose it there. Let's bring this up. We're playing it. Everyone have a good week. What another incredible showing. We're here every Monday, 12:30 Pacific. We started a little late today, but you guys showed up. Freaking amazing, Fletcher.
I know, everybody came up strong.
We're at if you're watching this, if you're still haven't decided, we're getting close to that 6,100 mark. I just checked.
All right, listen.
So, you know,
just go ahead and let the guest play. Come on, jeez.
Do it now.
Do it and hit the notification bell, because what happens is that, you know, when Paulie goes live, you know, you get that, hey, Paulie's live right now.
Paulie's live now.
Yeah.
We'll have some videos this week. I think there'll be a political video this week. Uh-oh, look out.
Watch
out. And we'll keep it from there. We did that big Batgirl critical drinker video reaction. That's gotten a lot of play. At least, wait a minute. What? At least you weren't Gary of Neurotic late. Oh God, there's a small chance I might see him Thursday. If I get down to San Diego, I will see him.
For Comic-Con, right?
For Comic-Con, yeah. But I'll probably just go for the movie and the hangout. You know, because usually when you walk in Comic-Cons, it's like you're so like into like, you know, it's like an assault to the senses. You know what I mean?
Right. There's a lot going on.
Okay, everyone, we're out. Thank you so much. Everyone is just incredible. And wherever you're at, keep that slant muy fuerte. Paz. Adios.
Later.